Welcome everybody to another RWD gaming video. Tonight we are going to be playing a one-shot in a Studio Ghibli inspired movie, inspired game, rather. A little bit of a new setting, so we're going to be trying that out. I'm going to pass it over to my players for a quick introduction, let them drop their channels, and then we will start it off. So, Sam.
Hey everybody, I'm Sam. I run Three Gorillas Entertainment. If you want to see a whole bunch of fake content, you can go there. I will be playing Ren, what's his last name? Otsuka. Bounty hunter, always on the lookout for more cash. So, should be fun.
Okay, Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody. My name is Jeremy. I run the YouTube channel, The Erasmus Expeditions, where I do live plays and other videos and stuff. And I am also 1/3 of the podcast, The Do's of Yore, with my friends Jeff Doty and Chad Nick. So, yeah, lots of RPG goodness. Tonight, I am playing Badiri, the Chosen One. He is a halfling warlock. I'm pretty excited to try this out and get into this setting and stuff. So, thanks for having me, Bear.
Oh, for sure. Carson.
Hello. I do not run any channels or anything like that. I am just a friend here to play some good old D&D. Tonight I'll be playing Reshi Man. He is a human ranger, and he was born into the Iron Hill and really loves industry. So.
True man of the people. And then finally, Tyler.
I'm Tyler. I will be playing Jock Turok, a half-orc hermit monk. I don't have any channels or anything to plug, but I'm excited to play with you guys.
I'm happy to have you. So, to get right into it, there hasn't really been a name established for this region, as it's kind of the last frontier in the world of id. The world is running out of resources, and it's really pushing it to its limits to circumvent those problems, which involves moving into the lands of giant beasts and massive monsters. Coming off the shore and up a river inlet into the mountains leads you to the town known as Iron Hill. This is like the trading outpost frontier town. You are on the edge of the known universe of this planet. The landscape is extremely difficult and rugged terrain, steep cliffs, large mountains, thick old forests that haven't seen human or any kind of humanoid race in a very, very long time. And the arrival of humans, halflings in tow, and gnomes eventually, there has been a kind of it's an upset. The forest is upset that these creatures are moving in and trying to civilize what doesn't need to be civilized. So here you are, probably 30 years into the outpost of Iron Hill, a forge and mining trade post out here in the frontier, where gods of beasts and other forest spirits dwell just as casually as men do in their cities. So I turn now to the city of Iron Hill, a wooden palisade on a pile of sand in the middle of the river inlet coming into the mountain. Extending from either side, there are wooden bridges that tie into kind of like very small paths that skirt the edge of the mountain, up and down the river for a short ways, just where humans have expanded onto the neighboring hills to cut down wood for lumber and to mine for iron in the sand. there's a small clearing of trees, like I said, and from there it is dense forest, and in the town you find a bustle of people doing all sorts of shit. There is a large iron refinery that goes 24/7, smithing the iron. What would you guys foresee yourselves doing in this town, I guess is what I should get to. Carson, what do you think Reshi would be doing in Iron Hill?
I imagine Reshi is part of maybe like the town watch or the militia. So he would probably be in some kind of bunkhouse, or I'm sorry, I didn't catch. Was there any conflict going on right now?
No, it's just kind of the city's bustling right now. It's midday, prime time for human and humanoid activity. So just in your casual everyday, what is going on for your character?
Well, Reshi is probably out hunting some prey of the finer sort. If you catching my drift, out prowling for ladies.
A true ladies' man here in Iron Hill. There's probably some chick that you've known her whole life that that's your interest, right?
It's a small town, yeah. And we have a meeting place actually up on the roof of the refinery. So I kind of run to the familiar alley that I know behind the butcher shop, run up a couple boxes, climb up the gutter, and run across the tile roof over to her. Say, "What up, my lady?"
So the camera pans away as Reshi intervenes with his love interest. We see a man dressed very differently than everyone else. What is Ren? Ren, yeah. What is Ren doing here?
Ren is what he's a little different. He's not as big as most of the people who live in this town. This is the town of strong, hard workers and tough people. Ren is a short man. He's like roughly about 5'6", and he's dressed in traveler's gear, like traveler's leathers, and like he was on a hunt. And you could see him. His bow is on his back, and he's got 2 quivers on his hips, almost like a gunslinger would carry his guns. And damn it, Jeremy. And as he's walking into town, he seems to be on a wheelbarrow, kind of like dragging like a wheelbarrow, and it's got a large animal in it. Recent kill from his last treks into the forest. Not exactly what he was looking for, but he's hoping to get something out of it. Maybe some sell the pelt, the meat, get some coin for his work.
And there is a general shop that you are aware of that will most certainly take this creature off your hands. You wheel around to one of the larger buildings in town. A character that you've come to know as Cortus Grimmer, a gnome that has more charisma in his pinky than you have ever had in your entire life. He can sell you anything he wants, and if you are of any use to him, you're already doing it for him. But he is a fair guy. He doesn't try to abuse people unless they deserve to be abused. He has recognized your talents, and whether it's through fear or respect, has decided to work with you. And his kind of labor boy, takes you where you've gone a few times now to deliver a recent catch and get your coin. So another odd fellow in the crowd. What is Jack up to?
Jack he came a little bit, not before the town was established, but he wasn't really a part of the town. He was in the wilderness outside of it. And some kind of instinct that he hadn't felt since his days with the barbarian tribe told him he needed to go there. It was his chance to atone. So he kind of made his way into town. He hasn't really talked to anybody. He kind of takes a place up on a bench and just kind of puts his hood up and watches people, kind of acclimates himself to being around people again. Because last time when he was around people, he was slaughtering them. So he's just kind of sitting there trying to see what's up. Something told him he needed to be in the town. He doesn't know what yet. He's trying to figure that out.
For the most part, I mean, you're not really getting bothered too much, and the best thing I can do for a bench is an overturned log of some sort, cats off to the side, maybe a wood pile waiting to be split. Most of the town is kind of busy to and fro. There's a lot of everyone's got a job out here. It's a fight to survive every day, so only those that pull their weight make it here. So for the most part, no one is really even paying you much attention. And finally, we have the shortest of our party here, Badiri. What is Badiri doing?
Yeah, if Ren was a short man, then Badiri is positively minuscule, at least to most everybody else's perception. Of course, not in his own mind. Badiri is heading straight from the boat, this river sailing barge or whatever it is that he arrived on, and he is looking for the drinking hole, whatever suffices as a tavern or a bar here, or if he just has to knock over and punch a hole in a keg to get a drink, that's what he's going to do. So I think he's actually probably like elbowing people in the knees, like trying to get them to move, and just kind of making his way there as fast as he can. Move out of their way, Longshanks!
And this is not a rare occurrence here. There is not a large halfling population, but a fairly decent sized one. Of the roughly 250 to 300 humanoids here, about 200 of them are human, and the last 100 are a separation of gnome, halfling, and half-orc, with the largest being halfling. The watering hole you are looking for and would know where exactly this is at, despite your view being obstructed from every angle. The Iron Lady. This is the only tavern in town, and it's not even really a tavern, as it is just most people don't have kitchens here, so you come here to eat. The Iron Lady is run by Siza, and Siza is a half-orc who has quite a reputation here. He was in the first expeditions out to this frontier with the Lady Samushi, leader of Iron Hill. He was her bodyguard, and in a conflict with the Wolf Lord or Wolf God, he took a grievous wound and has since run the food court, if you will. He is missing his right leg. It was eaten in an effort to save his lady from being killed outright. Somewhat of a coward before, he is regarded as a hero now, though he just runs the food court now. So he's a respectable guy, if anything. Fair, gives a fair price for drinking, spot to sleep. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so I imagine there might be like somebody who's passed out drunk, you know, maybe like leaning on the bar or something, sitting on one of these stools or a barrel.
Oh, absolutely. That's Merrick.
Excellent.
He's one of the oxen drivers. He suffered a broken arm and has been a lazy good for nothing ever since.
So Badiri strides straight over and uses this guy like a ladder and just climbs up him all the way up until he's standing on the bar and kind of waves his hands towards the half-orc. Hey, you! Oh, gods be damned. You're ugly! Yes, give me a drink.
You get one. Get off my bar, and I'll get you something to drink. What do you want?
Okay, you can give me one, but it has to be that one. And he points to the largest stein that he can see in the room.
And this stein is like a broken small tankard. Not like glass tankard. Like I'm thinking like small barrel jug, like probably like a small cask that's like broken, that was tipped or smashed. This is like half your body size. And he's like, all right, that's very funny. And he hands you a frothing cup of October ale. Not October. Whatever, it's October now.
Equivalent is, yeah. So he like takes a big whiff of this like dark harvest ale. All I have had to drink was piss water for 2 weeks while I have been on this boat. This is good. Okay, I get off your bar. And he kind of climbs back down with the mug.
And I almost imagine around this time, because it's getting to be about lunch, that a few folks that aren't getting lunch elsewhere are probably walking in here. One of which, Reshi.
Reshi is like elated with the fresh feelings of his lady love. Reshi is on top of the world. He comes in and he goes right up to, what's the bartender's name? Bev. What'd you say his name was?
The bartender's name is Siza.
Siza. He goes right up to Siza. Siza, good day, sir. And a beautiful one at that. Siza, go ahead.
Siza, he already has your glass kind of ready for you. As I'm sure you have your copper piece ready for him.
Yep. Yeah. Flicks the copper piece over.
He like hands you your ale. You got a glow about you today.
Oh. Well, Siza, I think I'm in love. And he takes a big whiff of this is another October ale.
Weren't you in love with Anya before? And what was it? Mira before that?
Oh yes, it's
I think you've gone after every girl that's been born here, damn it.
If only their fathers love me the way I love their daughters. Wait.
Yeah, you certainly haven't made any friends.
Anyways, he just kind of winks at Siza and takes a whiff of the ale and says, wow, it smells even more delicious today than it has before. And he walks off to go take a seat somewhere.
So, Ren, about this time, the desire for the casked ale that resides in the Iron Lady is calling to you, much as well to you, if not for the first time in a long time since being back in the civilization, Jack. You guys walk in the bar at roughly the same time. Maybe even holding the door open for one another. Nah, probably not. That'd be too much.
So it actually would be Ren would go through the door. You would see the clearly much larger half orc, like kind of going through the door at the same time, and not being one to be shown up, even though I'm sure he probably wasn't even trying to show me up. I kind of muscle my way in, just do that thing where I'm like, I'm gonna get in front of the door first, and I don't hold it open for him. Like it's not a mean move, but it's kind of like a little bit of a jerk move. I just and just walk right through.
Jack would he wouldn't seem like he even really noticed it. He'd just kind of let you go in front of him and continue in. And he gets in there and he's going to walk up to the counter and just say the word bread. And this like low kind of orky word, bread. Kind of.
Easy, man. You're all right? You're looking a little peaked.
I hunger.
All right. Take a seat at the bar, and I'll get you something to eat.
I make at the counter. I would have made a comment. It's like best not get between a half orc and his food size.
All right, it takes one to know one. What do you have?
I put down 2 copper pieces on the table, and I kind of signal for like 2 ales. I'm assuming it's a copper piece for an ale. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't really look into like the equivalents, but for the sake, this is like buying water because water's outside. I guess I don't know. It's copper piece right now. It's a sale. Take it. So yeah, he kind of gives you a nod. Fills 2 tankards up with ale and starts fixing this little fairly haggard looking orc something to eat.
As he passes me the 2 mugs, I slide one over to the half orc who's nearby. Can't have bread alone. Here you go.
Kind of look. He's got his hood still up, so you can't really see his face. But he kind of nods at you. And he's like, "My things." And he kind of looks at it like you can tell it's been a while since he's drank any kind of booze, and kind of throws it down and sets the mug down.
And Ren looks you up and down. I spent a lot of time in the woods, too. I know what it's like when you first come back into civilization. And he chugs his down just like you did. Name's Ren. What's yours?
Jump to rock.
John Turok. He says it, and he says John Turok in the Orcish it's meant to actually be said. I'm sure the same way you pronounced it. Jock Turok. I should say it properly now. And he he puts out his arm to shake.
Jack takes his hand and shakes it. He's kind of awkward about it. You can tell he hasn't really had this much interaction with another person in a while.
As you guys are shaking hands, Reshi looks up across the room and sees Ren over there. And he kind of jogs over. Ren! How are you, good sir? Long time no see.
Oh, good to see you again, Reshi. Have you been here long, or have you seen one of your sweethearts?
One of my sweethearts. There's only one sweetheart for me, Ren.
Yeah, one a week. Yeah, I remember the rule.
Actually, just
good for me. I just came into some money, and I put down another copper piece on the table for the barkeep.
We had that drunken individual like kind of slides down onto the floor off of the stool, and Badiri climbs up onto the stool not that far away. I heard you were buying around for everyone.
And he sat on the stool nearby. He looks over and he kind of like, I see him a little bit awestruck. He's like, the proportions are wrong. And he looks down. Oh, okay. No, you misheard, halfling.
Oh,
Running around for them.
oh, I see. There's a size issue. It's okay. I have already had one. So I am ahead of you.
Do I see the mug of ale you were drinking? Because that would be horrifying.
Yeah, he sets down the empty tankard on the bar.
Oh.
Jack slides 2 coppers across the counter and buys him 2 drinks.
Ah, yes. See, it is nice that some people still have manners. And he grabs the 2 tankards that are poured and kind of slides them over and kind of smacks his lips. I am not drinking alone. Are you not buying more?
Slides
Quitting already?
No, he slides 4 coppers over for the other 2, but not one for him.
He thanks you.
Yeah,
The ale is flowing.
What a wonderful day today.
So, halfling, I don't think I've seen you around town before.
No, I have just come in. That is why I am drinking. And he's already like halfway through the next mug. It's spilling down the front of him, which is kind of covered with tattoos. And he's not wearing a whole lot of clothing. But what he is wearing is kind of feathers and bones and scraps of leather and things. He's kind of wild looking.
Well, that is interesting. Where do you hail from? He's drinking to keep up with you, like almost making it like he doesn't want to get shown up by this halfling.
He's still drinking, and he takes one hand away from the tankard without removing the tankard from his face and just kind of points. He just keeps drinking.
Oh, clever from outside, I see. Yes.
And kind of wipes his mouth on the back of his arm. I am from over there. I do not know. It's some days, weeks perhaps. I slept through most of the journey. I had to drink a lot for a comfortable trip.
And it kind of clicks. Oh, you mean a boat? Okay.
Yes. Of course, a boat. What are you doing here? You are all interesting people. You don't look like Iron Hill people, except for you. You look like an Iron Hill person, he says, pointing to Rishi.
Iron Hill, born and raised.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. This is a beautiful land of innovation and adventure and exploration.
Are you talking about the giant smokestack over there in the corner of the town?
Yes, one of the humans' greatest feats to this day.
Well, that's not saying very much.
Yeah, to be honest, actually, in terms of like how primitive this like overall getup is, that is one of the finer parts of this. It's a fairly large building that is producing a large plume of smoke. There is quite a bit of money that comes in through here.
I'm sure it must be impressive to somebody that's so homely like yourself.
Impressive is not the word I would use. No. The Boar spirit calls it, what was it? Disturbing. That's what he said.
Oh, you know the forest spirit, do you?
Ah, yes. I failed to introduce myself. Forgive me. I am Badiri, the chosen one. The forest spirit has chosen me. Believe it or not. You are looking at a chosen one of destiny.
Well,
now you drink with him.
I give a chuckle at the whole chosen one thing. Oh man, it's a joke, right?
Why? Are we laughing? No. Badiri is the chosen one.
Of the horse spirit.
Well, in certain places, maybe.
I think you've drank too much. little one. It's starting to affect your head.
Maybe.
You actually you see a couple heads at the bar turn, and Siza kind of walks over. I really would appreciate it if you kept the forest spirit out of the tavern. We don't need to freak anybody out.
Keep the forest. Do you not know what this place was before you built your shack?
Lady Samushi has worked her whole life for what is here.
Well,
More than just a shack.
I should have you know, I hold the forest spirit accountable for at least 2 of my cousins' deaths,
they probably deserved it.
and several of my friends deserved it. Huh.
Were they cutting down trees? Were they
Of course
slaughtering
they were
animals
cutting
needlessly?
down trees and slaughtering animals. It's in the name of humanity.
Exactly.
It's for the greater good.
Oh, this place needs some education.
So that was actually just really impressive. You gotta all have an inspiration point for that. Uh, there is as you guys are kind of bantering about in the bar during this lunch hour, you hear the work bell sound again, and the few people that are in here shuffle out. Rishi, you are in luck because today is your one day off of the week. It's probably why it's the best day of the week. Usually, what do you do here? What is your profession? What do you?
I'm part of the town watch, so I don't have to be on duty today. Sometimes I go on scouting parties and hunting parties and stuff like that.
And being on the city watch, you are being on the city watch. Lately, it's been fairly involved and tiresome. There's been a lot more sightings of the denizens of the forest trying to recultivate the trees. The monkey spirits and the god monkeys are replanting the trees, and you are forced to fire projectiles into the mountainside to scare them off. This has happened every night this week, whereas before they would only come every once in a while. It's they seem to be increasingly more aggressive in their strikes. The oxen carrying supplies from the major ships out on the coast are often attacked. You've been outraged. You've had to escort them. Those are the like tasks you dread the most, because those are the real risky business.
Sooner or later, the forest animals will cower to the power of iron and gunpowder. Uh,
As a I'm gonna put words in your mouth, Jeremy. There is a boast about the ironworks here, and the conclusion has been come to. Well, why don't you guys just go check it out? So, not a far journey from the Iron Lady. It's like a block away. There is the Iron Hill Ironworks, a large building with a fairly open wall on one side. It's bricked on 3 walls, and inside there is like a a barrier to which behind is the iron smelt, and then there is the large bellows keeping the fire hot. And you see like 20 women all on this large bellow, working it back and forth. You see a few on their break. You see that like there are a lot of ingots of iron like stacked along the one side and like on a cart getting ready to be loaded. The heat coming out of this is incredible. Whereas for the most part, it's been kind of like rainy, not necessarily humid, but there's been moisture in the air. It is very, very dry here as in comparison to anywhere else. But this is probably the most alive building in this entire place. This place is lit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The shifts are like 2 weeks long and then 2 weeks off. This is where the money is. These girls literally fund the operation of this entire town through keeping these fires going. Rishi's mother works here. She was one of the she's probably a like manager now or something. She doesn't work the bellows anymore. That was 20 years of legwork that she's done with. But this, Rishi, I'm going to take the liberty to say that your mother is like a very, not like muscular, but your mother is fit. The edge of survival on top of working the shifts she did, your mother is fairly fit and healthy. You probably all are living here. This is like Paleolithic.
She also has asthma from all
Probably,
the smog.
probably working in here without the FDA regulations or environmental regulations. Black lung.
Yeah, Badiri walks in and kind of puts his hands on his hips as he's kind of like looking around. He just lets out a whistle. You have done a very nice job of recreating the underworld here. It's very nice. I think they call this place hell.
You as you're kind of like making this gesture, someone your size runs past and kind of like shoulder checks you. And as you kind of turn to see this person, it's another halfling, roughly your size, but very much different in every single way facially. Kind of looks back to you and is like, "Watch it, shorty," and runs away.
See? See? Even the halflings have become cowards here. What is going on?
At that whole exchange, Ren would just be literally bowled over at the whole, like, watch it, shorty, the whole thing. I'm just laughing. Just, oh, my. I've never seen such a thing.
Okay, yes. Have your fun. Laugh it up. Sky breather.
Oh man, that was funny. But truly, this I've never seen the inside of the ironworks. This is, yeah, that whistle says it all. This is an impressive place. And I look over at how much wood needs to be used and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you guys keep this up, I won't have any more hunting grounds.
At this point, Rishi's mother walks over. What is Rishi? What is your mother's name?
Gilda.
Gilda walks over and she kind of laughs. Have only gone so far into the woods, have you? And her accent is thick from somewhere that you can't exactly place, but you can tell that wherever she's from, it's not here. Whereas, don't know. Whereas Rishi is kind of more a blend of a lot of different mixes here. Her accent's very thick. The forest goes on for an eternity. don't you know?
Yes, but you tend to find things that you don't want to be found by.
One of the yes, there are many stories of people who have come into contact with things that they do not want to come into contact with here.
Mm-hmm.
I do not worry about so much you, but looking at like or you, looking at both Jack and Ren, and in the visible gap where that fourth person should be, she looks down. Oh, that was where the big voice was coming from. I knew there was a loud talker here. Greetings, my friend. I love your people. And this, like, though she doesn't intend to be, the way she's saying your people and like it's kind of condescending, and it's like she's not intentionally being racist, but there was like racism in her upbringing.
Yeah, and he just completely and totally writes it off as in thinking that she was referring to their superiority. And the fact that, you know, she knows he's the chosen one, so his people.
You do not admire the ironworks here. We are very proud of the iron we produce. The ladies work very hard.
it makes it very hard to breathe.
And she that is why we wear the head coverings now to protect the women's lungs.
I see. Yes, I just don't burn everything I see. It does the same thing. It protects my lungs too.
And she kind of like looks back, and you must understand, a lot of good comes from what we do here. We supply the world with a building material and allow for the advancement of humankind in the ways of technology and science. We here are living as what some may say is primitive, on the edge of civilization within our walls and in the woods, but we are very much in the forefront of what can be done with the resources at hand. What better push for evolution than through the fight for survival?
Yeah, sometimes things are okay with the way they are. They don't need to change. I mean, the forest spirit seems to think that, and he kind of like hangs that out, like the forest spirit as a carrot.
Though she wasn't talking like jokingly or anything, there is kind of like a depth and tone to when she talks to you now. What do you know of this forest spirit?
I am Badiri, the chosen one of the forest spirit. It has sent me here for a purpose.
You have seen the forest spirit. You just got here. Were you on the boat?
Yes, I have seen the forest spirit a long time ago. He
The
has told me to
spirits
come.
look like.
He is a great stag whose horns are immeasurable, just like the power of Badiri.
And she's kind of like taken aback. So you have seen the forest spirit.
Yes, I'm a halfling, not a liar.
And Rishi would know this, though he probably wouldn't talk about it. Gilda has met the forest spirit. Not necessarily met, but she has seen it. She knows of its existence, though she didn't come into direct contact with it. She was in like the grove trying to have a sibling healed of an illness, and she watched the forest spirit. She's telling you this story. Watched the forest spirit drain him of his life rather than give him anything back. And she finishes, the forest spirit is a master of life and death, though I do not know which one is better.
It's only for him to decide.
Though you are small, you are wise. I pray you keep yourself that way. For meddling with the forest spirit is no light matter. The denizens of the forest, though they are creatures you may have seen back home. They are not like them. They are smart. They are gods themselves, very representations of the manifestations of flesh. You see, there is that marches on Iron Hill. And word of what drew you here. The first expedition showed up here. There was a massive boar on the beach. Huge. Like probably 15 to 17 feet in length, snout to tail, and probably 12 feet at the haunch. Massive. This boar could be seen through the telescope as they approached, and as they like got close enough to see it, it kind of sauntered into the woods. And this was the first god beast that they made contact with. This is the guardian of the forest, the warrior, the protector, the boar god Okkoto. He is a massive boar, like I said, of pale white. His hair is like it's a graying brown, and his eyes pierce a like vibrant yellow. His tusks are easily as long as a long sword or bigger, and he can speak. Though we have yet to find out if it's like through telepathy or what. They knew the common tongue and were able to communicate with the colonists that arrived here. And through a rather heated discussion with Lady Samushi, they were allotted a plot of land on an island that the animals considered, or the beast gods considered, cursed. So the humans were allowed to have that plot. So now that the humans and other humanoids are moving into the rest of the forest, Okkoto is pissed. And he has amassed a legion of dire boars to follow him into combat, to march on Iron Hill.
Is it possible that
you'd actually be aware of this?
Rumors in around town that Samushi's looking for warriors to fight Okkoto or something?
Yes, and Gilda has probably been like, you will not go fight the boar god Okkoto. He will destroy us. You will not.
Mom!
You will stay within the walls of the palisade before.
I have to do this. If we do not defeat Okkoto, then everything that we know will be destroyed. It's beyond
if we
me,
go
mother.
to fight him, you will be destroyed. Ah.
Mom, you know I am a strong warrior.
And she...
Would you rather me work the bellows for the rest of my life?
You wouldn't be allowed to work the bellows.
Well, I'm just putting it in her head. Making a point.
I mean, a valid argument would be, going out to do like the cattle escort is about just as dangerous as doing that.
Yeah, Mom. Well, there's not many more options for me.
Like I said, Ren, you'd be interested in Okkoto. You've heard of him.
I think you mean Jack. He was the one that asked the question.
Sorry, Jack. Yeah. I looked right at his name too. Jack, you would be aware of this boar. You maybe not the exact conversations or what exactly happened. I'm not entirely sure when you went into the wilderness and all this, but just through your observations and like your travels through the woods, you have been encountered by them but yeah, you've been here for 15 years. You have definitely encountered the dire boars, but they've kind of just dismissed you as a non-threat because you've come off that way. You know when you're pissed off and an animal kind of recognizes that your dog will come up to you or whatever. They kind of got that sense. So like seeing like the despair and like brokenness of your fighting spirit that kind of like emanates off you, so they kind of just dismiss you and carry about their way. So you are aware of them just through observation.
I kind of jump in on this Reshi fighting with his mom a little bit, going back and forth. Reshi, okay, hold on. It's very cute, this fight you're having with your mother. But I'm very intrigued by this. Are you 100% certain that the Boar God is amassing armies? An army?
Yes. I've seen it with my own eyes on one of my scouting missions. And the Lady Samushi is paying a great reward for his head.
Yeah, Lady Samushi is amassing any kind of warrior that comes this far inland from the in the frontier to aid in her quest of defending Irontown from the deity that marches on it. She will pay easily a few hundred gold pieces. She has enough to spare.
Badiri kind of speaks up and he says, that is all fine and good, but Badiri gets one of the tusks. The forest spirit has demanded it. I must bring it to him.
And with like the mention of the tusk, Gilda like kind of backs up. I'm sorry, I have some place to be. I will see you later at home, Rishi. And she takes off.
I love you, Mom. Bye.
Your mother is a very nice lady. She has a very round tush.
A true Iron Hill woman. Yes, that's the body type around here.
That's the like body type around here. Stop.
But truly, why don't we go see Lady Samushi, the Iron Lady, and see exactly what price she's willing to pay for the head of the Boar God?
That is another easily locatable location. You guys are kind of like on the eastern side of Iron Hill, where the refinery is, and the small inn where most of like the girls on break and other workers come to eat. Lady Samushi's not really palace, but her keep, if you will, is on the other side, and it is kind of like a part of the western wall. There is a large front gate. Not even really a gate. This is kind of like the spot closest to the inlet that you would take to get out of here. And you can see like there's like some scaffolding that goes down the side of the hill to some boats that would be used in the event of something coming. The bridges are on this is on the west side, I said, correct? So the bridges are on the north and south sides, and then you guys are on the east side. So this is another wood building. There's a guard out front. You see he's holding a rifle. He's human. Carson, you know this man. You're usually working this shift with him.
Oh, good day, Gordon.
What did you say his name was?
Gordon.
Gordon kind of like fucking goes to like hockey check you with his rifle. You son of a bitch. What are you doing on your day off? Why are you coming to work?
Give him a headlock, give him a noogie.
He fucking like hits you in the ribs.
Fucking pick him up by the throat and slam him down.
Rip his eyes out.
Today's the day, Gordon. We're going to take down the Boar God Okkoto, me and my new friends.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Sorry. We have guests over, and I'm hermiting in my room. So you're going to hunt the Boar God. Are you dumb or stupid?
Dumb or stupid?
Or some combination of both? What the fuck do you mean you're going to go fight the Boar God?
I'm going to make sure you keep having
first
a
of all,
job.
you should know better than anyone that we don't have to go fight anything. He's coming to us.
Well, he will be defeated anyways. Don't get smart with me, Gordon.
What? Did you just somehow get a better shot than I've ever seen you do? Are you going to shoot? You can barely hit the plain side of a brick wall.
Barely hit the plain side of a brick wall. I pull out my musket and spin it around.
Spinning and shooting ain't the same fucking thing, dumbass.
He's got a point, Reshi. You should put that down before you hurt yourself.
You should learn a thing or two from Ren. This man has seen some things. You ain't seen the outside of your mom's vagina, much less the outside of the Palisades.
You guys just think I'm young. And because I'm young, I'm not capable of doing things. Well, I won't have it anymore. Soon you'll all call me Reshi, God of the forest. And he goes,
yeah, Rashi, God of the latrines. I know Ran. Who are these fine folks? And he puts his hand out to shake your hand, Jack.
No, don't touch that one. It's finicky.
Jack just kind of stares at his hand for a second and kind of reluctantly takes it and just says, "Jock to rock." And that's all he says.
Jock to rock. All right. You're a pretty big ass dude. You might serve well on the guard if you're looking for a job. And he looks down at you, Badiri. What's up? What's your name?
I am Badiri, the chosen one.
The chosen one. Chosen for what? Staring into people's crotches all fucking day?
Greatness.
Greatness.
You know, trees are also very tall, but they are not very smart either. And he kind of pushes past this guy.
Trees aren't very smart. Guy kind of like, this guy is now he's kind of like removing his helmet. He's got like a greasy face, black hair, kind of like stubbly chin, beautiful blue eyes. All right, what the fuck? You gonna go talk to Lady Samushi about fighting the Boar God? You are dumb, but I can't stop you. Let me get back to work before they get pissed.
Yes. I don't think you could probably catch water in a pail. And he just like walks through into the door, wherever this place is, like bold as brass.
And you see him kind of like, at least I wouldn't drown in a pail.
Ren, as he walks past him, he like pats him on the shoulder. That was a good one. Good job.
he like, winks at him and he lets you guys pass. There's like a short flight of steps that lead up to like a double door. This is very, very similar to what I picture like a longhouse. It's kind of just like a long chamber with some rooms on the other, like outsides, and like a flat wall. Where there is like a couple rooms and like a stairway leading up to like a balcony. And at the far end, you see going over the ledger with a halfling girl named, hold on, I have the name, that Reshi would recognize as Paprina. Going over the ledger with Lady Samushi. And Lady Samushi is I guess I can do descriptions for both of them. Paprina is a curly blonde. Her hair is probably down to her mid back, though it's up in kind of just a mess right now. She wears very plain clothes and a tight fitting apron. You can see like some soot and or like other like char marks on her clothes, and she's wearing like some sort of like visor that's flipped up. And Lady Samushi is a very tall woman. She's got dark hair that's kind of up in some sort of bonnet. She's wearing like a black dress-ish. It's very like military uniform dress, very combat oriented or efficiency. And she has a large katana at her side. And of course, in like the corners of the room, there's the guards, there's the various whatever doing various things inside this longhouse. A few other important people sitting at this table doing business and other working deals between the town. They don't really actually look up to see you because it's kind of a big room. You know, you didn't exactly just make a presence unless you choose to do so.
I'd like to approach. What's the halfling's name?
Paprina. Can you guys give me 1 second? I will be right back. I have to go AFK for just 1 second.
Yes. Yes, Paprina sounds attractive.
No. Have you ever seen the movie The Gamers?
I haven't seen the Gamers, no.
No, there's a character. It's like one of the D&D movies. There's a character in the Bard who constantly hits on every woman he sees. Yeah. That's the feel I'm getting here.
That's kind of what I'm going for. Give Paprina.
Is that the Darkness Rising?
Yeah, I think it's the one before it, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen the Darkness Rising. It was pretty damn funny.
I think it's Dead Gentleman Productions.
Yes, I think that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where they keep sending the NPC paladin outside so that they can like kill people.
Oh, what lovely architecture!
Oh, the bad guy. He just ran that way.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't knowingly witness torture.
Sorry about that. So you guys have entered this longhouse.
I'm gonna walk up to Paprina, give her a long, gracious bow. Paprina, I hear you still haven't taken a man's hand in marriage.
Paprina is quite a bit older than you. She was also on the first expedition. She just ages significantly better. Halfling, so she's like almost 200 years old.
I offer a fair price.
Maybe not 200. I don't know what the halfling
services.
lifespan is off the top of my head.
Well,
She kind of like looks at you and laughs. Yeah, Rishi. Why don't you go play with your friends?
Well, why don't you let me introduce my friends? I know you're no stranger to Ren.
Mm-hmm.
And
hello, lady. I apologize for my friend's forward actions.
Ren, you don't have to make excuses for him. We know. When are you gonna give up that old bow and move on to what we got? And she kind of like refers to one of the tools that the guard has. I know you could tear something up with one.
When you can make one that fires straight. I'm just saying.
Whoa. You know damn well that this is the straightest shooting rifle you've ever seen, if you've ever even seen a rifle.
Yeah, for the first 100 feet. But if you're firing a ball that doesn't fly correctly, you need fletching. And it's like pulls out his arrow and shit.
And you hear Lady Samushi laugh. Though I will not knock your efficient way. And not only are they getting better, they're getting lighter. So hopefully one day even the girls can protect the town.
Yeah, I could barely hear half of what you said. I think you're cutting in and out, man.
More people on the internet.
So Badiri kind of steps out from behind Ren with his arms kind of folded across his bare chest. Speaking of protecting the town, he kind of waits for Lady Samushi and the halfling woman to kind of turn and look at him, even if it's like an uncomfortably long period of time.
Completely
It's actually
forgetting all
Go ahead.
social norms and stuff. As soon as Jack sees the lady come down, he says, "We mean to kill your boar."
Yes, he has stolen my thunder. That is what we were here.
Oh, well, you are a very forward bunch. You mean to kill Okkoto, the god boar, protector of the woods?
Well, I don't care if I kill him or not. I want one of his teeth, his tusks.
Right.
The forest spirit has demanded it, and he has brought me here to do so.
The forest spirit has demanded it.
That's only him. I'm doing it for the money. How much does it pay, by the way?
I can give you 300 upon completion, probably 100 now, 200 maybe. Ren, you have proven yourself worthy. You are definitely worth it, though. And she kind of like looks up at Jack. Actually, did you come in on the ship, or were you like just a traveler that circumvented the land bridge to the far?
Who, me?
Yes.
Jack just kind of wandered that way on his own,
Gotcha.
trying
So
to get as far away from people as he possibly could.
I'm just trying to think if she had been aware of your existence or not. So she looks to you, forward one. What skills do you bring to the table?
I punch things and swing my axe.
She giggles. You will fit in perfectly then. And she looks down to you, Badiri, and you speak of the forest spirit.
He says, yes.
Kind of going through like the same he kind of goes through like the same skepticisms as Gilda.
He says, yes, and not only do I speak of the forest spirit, I somewhat speak for the forest spirit. And he kind of bows, and as he does so, he kind of waves his hands a little bit, and from behind him comes a small minor illusion of the forest spirit himself, kind of walking out onto the floor, and he kind of looks up.
And as he does this, like this manifestation, like as it touches the ground, the small footsteps, I imagine this is like a tiny image. You see like the wood grow, like sprouts, like a tiny tree, and they grow for a short time and then they wither off and die when the step leaves. And it carries on, so there's like a bunch of little tiny footsteps along the wood paneling here. And you see Peprina, like her eyes go wide, and you see Lady Samushi kind of unamused, really. If you are an emissary for the forest spirit, I assure you that he will die one day, just as he thinks to hold sway over that ability of us.
Well, all things live and all things die. Probably the forest spirit as well. But while he lives, he makes me very, very powerful.
Well, if you intend to use that power to kill Okkoto, I suppose I can't stop you. And if you're asking to be paid, I'm a little less sure of your abilities. It will have to be after, should you succeed.
It is fine with me. The money is good, but it is not why I'm here.
Excellent. Then I shall give you off to my woodsman management guy, who is known by the name. And Darragel, you see, has a large, like, pale, it's like a scar or a burn or something. It's hard to tell because it's very, very, yes, Darragel. It's very old looking. You can see that it's faded by the sun. And you can see it on his hand too, as he like approaches to escort you off away from Lady Samushi. It's on his hand. It's on his, like, most of his neck, part of his face. He's missing some hair. Like part of his, maybe even like his lips a little like pulled back. Like eye messed up. He got fucked up. And kind of like without saying anything, he like notions to you to follow him, and he like walks away and leads you to one of the rooms in the back of like that area, the like far flat wall, and it leads you to this small room where there's like a cartographed map. And this map has like elevations, and it's for the most part the immediate surroundings around Iron Hills. And like you can tell that at one point this was like a plot map for where they were going to trim back trees, and now this is kind of like a makeshift battle map. And like there's like a little red X on like the far corner of the northern side, or it's like the far edge of the northern side. And he like taps the paper. Lord Okkoto, or the Boar God Okkoto, gathers his forces to the north. Range farther over the mountain ranges that way, and the trembles felt as if they were earthquakes, is what they reported. That has to be a lot of boars. You think you can kill him? What part of that did you miss? What do you want me to say again?
I think I got the gist of what you were saying.
Technical difficulties today.
That is probably a lot of boars, but we just need to take one. I think we can do it. They won't be expecting a surprise attack.
He kind of smirks. Yeah, that's what I thought when I went into the forest. And he like grotesquely shows off his like, he probably doesn't have like a collarbone. He's fucking deformed. But for some reason, the forest spirit thought I should live. So he let me live with it. I think we got an expression around here. And he like looks to you, Badiri. Same coin. Which side's worse? He laughs. Come on, let's get you outfitted and out onto the boats. No time like the present, am I right?
We are to be going back on the boats?
It's easier to sail off than to try and circumvent the bridge off to the north. We can get you right onto the bank.
It is a short journey, I hope, yes?
Oh, yeah. 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
Okay, yes, let's go.
So with that, you see another door on like the opposite side of the room that you walked in. And when you open it, there is a beautiful garden. Like massive orchids of all kinds, and like stuff that those of you who haven't gone into the woods here, you've never seen. Jack, you are very familiar with everything you've seen in here. Honestly, this is probably the most at home you felt since you've been on the island. Like the forest is growing inside the hill itself. There's just a very calm, serene feeling to it. This is known as Lady Samushi's garden, her personal garden. She is very fond of fauna and like she kind of has like Gregor Mendel. I think Gregor Mendel was the pea plants. She's kind of got that thing going on. She's like breeding plants and pollinating plants. And on the far side is like another wooden structure that is actually attached to the wall, like the outer palisade of the wall. And this is the like tinker workshop. You can hear like the hammering of iron into malleable shape, and there's like a small chimney that's producing smoke, like a couple like wind wheels circling from the breeze coming off the lake that are pumping some unseen device inside. The door is actually probably popped open to get a breeze in there because it's hot as shit. And mind you, it's probably getting to be not night, early evening.
Adiri looks at Ren and he says, Longshanks, you are a hunter. You have the walk of a hunter. Yeah, you look where you go. But I do not think that you are a hunter of animals. Am I right?
On occasion, I'm a hunter of animals. I am a hunter of anything that needs to be hunted, you could say.
I see. You have the look of this cityness about you. This civilization.
You call it a sickness? I mean, I enjoy it. I don't like to spend. I love going out into the woods. I love hunting, but I also love spending coin. A man's got to enjoy himself.
This is true. Both sides of the coin, I think, is what he said.
That's the way it goes. As he says that, he takes one of the silver pieces out of his pocket and begins flicking it up and down just on his thumb and forefinger.
And all the while, you're being led through these gardens by Darragil. And he takes you into the workshop, which is a fairly sizable room. You see gnomes of various shapes and sizes, mostly small sizes, working to and fro on various projects, mostly gun barrels. You see a lot of them temper testing for strength and durability. You see that the one is like weighing it, seeing how much it weighs. The one's, kind of shaking his head like, no, not light enough yet. A lot of, and you even see like what appears to be like a small automaton kind of walking across the workshop here. When you walk through, you see you see a gnome. Actually, no, this is a halfling. There's halflings in here as well. Not as nearly as much, maybe like 2 or 3. And they look a lot like Peprina. This one is like a adolescent halfling boy. This one does not look like Peprina. This one is the one that bumped into Deary from earlier, and he is actually handing Rishi his rifle. Straightened her out. Try not to drop it so damn much, Rishi. Goddamn, it's a tool, not a fucking toy.
Rishi picks it up, looks down the sights. Wow, what's his name?
I don't think I gave this one a name. His name is Cleo.
Wow, Cleo, you've really outdone yourself on this one. Spins it around. Whoosh. Looks down the sights again. Throws it on his back. What do I owe you?
What'd you say?
What do I owe you?
The same. I'll put it on your bill. You get like a monthly expenditure. They just kind of like chalk it up, and at the end you have like a savings. Usually, you're pretty much you've regimented yourself. You lived here long, and you've been here the whole time. So basically, your whole paycheck's gone by the time you get your next paycheck.
Do you have that other thing we talked about?
Other thing, what do you want?
You know, that fake ring I was gonna give to my lady friend.
He like reaches into his pocket. Gordon's right, man. Are you dumb or are you stupid?
Just young. Just young.
Just young, dumb, and full of cum. That's what your fucking auntie used to say.
Oh, poor auntie. Killed by the forest spirits henchmen.
Yeah, we gotta be careful out there. You got Shorty with you still. Thought you'd have lost him by now.
Badiri like comes over. Oh yes, I recognize you. Mostly from the back because you walked away so quickly. And he kind of accidentally leans on his quenching bucket and kind of knocks it over. Oh, I am so sorry. Very clumsy here in the city.
Yeah, clumsy. Probably jobless too. Some of us got shit going on, shit to do. We're part of the community. Provide for ourselves. What do you do?
You must be
Hey.
very, very proud.
Proud?
Do you have
I
a
work
forest
for
spirit?
everything I've got.
Do you have a forest spirit who has blessed you? No,
Forest?
I didn't think so. Guess who has? Badiri. That's who.
Forest spirit. Fuck him. Fuck you too. I got iron. That's all that matters here.
It certainly matters more than you, Shorty.
Yeah, whatever. He casually goes back to work. Kind of, actually not casually, probably in a huff. He's always in a huff. This guy's kind of a douche. And is there anything, Ren or Jack, that you see in this room that would catch your eye? Something made of iron.
If there's any kind of like mostly axes, he would look at them. At the very least, he would look at them.
You see that they're honestly, just from what I imagine is your knowledge of weapons, you can tell that this has a fine edge on it, ground down fairly exquisitely. It's not like a pretty efficient or effective is how I would describe it.
Jack kind of steps closer to it. He doesn't touch it, but he just kind of remarks almost to himself, "This is a fine axe."
And almost looking for a reason to walk back over here, the halfling returns and kind of hops up onto the table in front of where this is hanging and like picks it up and like throws it into your hands. Well, go on, hold the damn thing.
Jack kind of grabs it, and almost out of instinct, he immediately just starts spinning it around, just testing the weight of it. It's a very graceful style for a battle axe.
And the halfling kind of like laughs. He's like, "Hell yeah, that's awesome!" And he like picks up like some sort of scrap, something, and he like tosses. He's like, "Hell yeah, get this!" You know. And I mean, that's up to you. What you respond with?
With a backhanded swing, he just kind of slices it in half.
And it's clean, like zero resistance. You feel as this thing cleaves a wood block, clean in two. And they kind of fall to the floor, and you see like the anime lines of this block getting cut in two, because this is super anime. You would you would definitely consider this weapon to be a finer craft. And the halfling kind of with a smirk, "Go on, take it. If you're gonna go fight the boar god, I can make another axe. That's the least hardest thing I make here."
Kind of looks at it for a minute and just says, "My thanks. This is a fine axe." And stashes it kind of to a side.
And he hands you like a leather, I don't know what they're called, but it's like a leather masking that you put on the head of the axe to, you know, essentially be like piece bonded or something. Yeah, is it still just called this? It's sheath, basically. Yeah. He hands you, you know, what would have been the sheath for this axe, because this was kind of on the wall rack. Here, you'll probably need this too, and like a strap or whatever you would need to attach it to your person.
He nods and straps it on.
So Reshi's squatting on the workbench with a piece of straw in his mouth. And he kind of goes, "Oh, there's a hidden power inside of that one." Kind of murmurs to himself.
Very monk-like and mysterious.
Very anime-esque.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Ren was looking at Jack as he cut the block and kind of like just staring at him do that. Just trying to remember something, but then something catches his eye, and he sees someone who's working at making some iron arrowheads, and he looks over to that. He's like, "Whoa!" And he's looking at these like wicked, like large iron arrowheads. He's like, "This would be a fine replacement to my flint ones." And it's like this big one. How much if I want to take 20 of these? And he looks back at the halfling.
I'll give you a bundle of arrows for a silver piece. 2 silver pieces. And it's like, I'll give you 20, 25 arrows.
25 for 2. I can do that.
And you get like this bundle of arrowheads tightly bound by like a leather cord. He kind of scoops it up off the pile and tosses it to you. We don't sell much of these anymore anyway, now that we're using rifles. I don't think they'll mind me selling them to you for cheap.
I appreciate it.
Plus he like slaps your leg. Plus, I mean, a man like you produce results.
That's right, I will. We're going to come back with that boar god's head. Minus 1 tusk as he looks over at Badiri.
He just bows.
And then he thinks about it for a second. I was like, I wonder how many arrowheads I can make out of a tusk. Go on, sorry.
You see Darrigal open the door and kind of like half of his face kind of covered in shadow, the other half illuminated by the room. Come on, let's get you over the shore before nightfall. We want to make camp on the other side before take watch on the with the water to the back with our backs, so we don't got to worry about nothing from that side. And with that, he leads you down the rickety steps that go down the side of this. This it's not really a cliff; it's like a sand shelf cliff, if you will, like a hard stone sand. And you see, like, there's like a window outside this work area that like a bucket goes into the water, comes up here, and there's like 3 or 4 boats tied to a small dock that extends into the water. You all load up into the boat and effectively sail to the northern bank. And at this time, the sun's kind of cresting over the mountains, and there's a great shadow that's kind of cast over this valley that you're in, making it dark a lot sooner than you probably are used to if you're not from here. And as you guys land and get some kindling from the cut down trees here, and kind of make a skiff that I think there's probably already one over there on the other side of the bridge that people usually use to sleep in, or the guard, and you prepare for your first rest. And with that, we're going to take a break, so we can get a drink, get whatever you got to do done, smoke a cig if you got them. We'll be back here in 10-15.
All right, cheers.
Thank you, everybody. If anybody watches this in the future, primarily using this as a test video for this setting. So, didn't mention before, but it's an adult game. You probably already figured that out.
Yeah, it is.
This is part of the videos you don't want your kids to watch on YouTube.
Do we have people watching?
No.
Oh,
I am.
one kitty cat watching.
I've got to go on the other side just to see if anybody popped in the chat. But it says
I did
one
put
watching.
it a bed up.
Mm.
I forgot.
Oh, you didn't put an event up?
No. I forget, man. There's so much more to setting videos up than just turning the video on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You got to remember all of it. Well, if you want anyone to watch.
I'll get there. That's not really my prime directive with this.
Yeah.
I try to get to where towards the beginning of the month, I sit down and make all of the YouTube hangout links ahead of time and then do all the Facebook invite shit, because if I don't, I'll forget about it ahead of time.
If I'm ever playing with Dave, he always rides my ass about it until I get it up. He's like, "You got the event up yet?" It's like, "No, Dave, I'm sorry. I'm disappointment. I know."
Yeah, he's a stickler. He wants that stuff up. It's good. He wants to see it promoted. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yep.
For sure, for sure. I love playing with Dave. He's a great guy.
Oh, man, yeah.
He is, for sure.
Thank you for sticking it out with us, man. Hope you're having a decent time.
Oh, this is great. I love all your NPCs, by the way.
Cool, because they are now 5 names on a piece of paper.
Did you make up those names on the spot, or did you plan them?
No, fuck no. I made up like 6 or 7 people that I wanted to include. 3 of them, they haven't reached their full what they're doing here yet, so they kind of got foregoed. You met all the original expeditions, so that was the main thing I wanted you guys to meet. You met Lady Samushi, you met Peprina, you met Saizo, and you met the gnome, Cortus Grimmer. Nah, you didn't really meet him. Bran interacted with him in the beginning. But I mean, other than that, I'm kind of just fitting the pieces together as you guys bring the things up. I mean, for the most part, it's stuff that you wouldn't think of. I wouldn't think of. But it's like, oh, this is an excellent thing to think of. And so I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are too.
I've had an absolute blast.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, I love Badiri's attitude.
Badiri's great.
Like I said, I was basing him off of the brownies from Willow. Very large and in charge, even though they're the smallest thing around.
No, that's perfect.
Nailed it.
Tyler, I do not know for the Kensai thing.
I think they do.
I think AC might be the only place rules is written in 5th edition where the bonuses will stack. I think that it says that in the book somewhere.
As long as it's not like named the same type of bonus, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think they do stack. Is there any like questions that have come up from this so far, or?
No.
Right
I'm just wondering how we're going to run through this boar.
Well, we're getting into combat in the next part.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
I mean, if you guys are ready, we can hop right back into it. Yeah, spoilers. You're going to fight something. You wouldn't have guessed it.
In D&D? The fuck you say?
Yeah, you guys haven't rolled anything. I've rolled more times than you have.
I love my players when I play like with my brothers. They can tell they're about to get into a fight by the tone of my voice. Just like they're like, "Oh, it's about to happen." Like he's gonna ask us to roll initiative.
Roll initiative. Oh, there it is. All right. So you find yourself, like I said, on the cleared, logged area on the other side of this bridge. There's like a small lean shelter that you are escaping the cool, damp night winds that kind of sift through this part of the valley. When you guys start, it's really you four here. The gnome went back. So it would be recommended that you take watch. How would you guys go about doing that?
Ren would take first watch.
So when you guys kind of lay down in your own fashions, Ren decides to take first watch. And it's not quiet. The hills and surrounding forest are very much alive with the sounds of insects and other things scuttling through that you can't really make out. Even probably just from the light of the fire, it's kind of casting shadows on the forest walls that you, being trained, aren't afraid of, but the casual onlooker would be. And for the most part, you have every inkling to believe that it is uneventful. Who would be taking second watch?
Jack will take second watch.
Jack, this is probably a new experience for you. Nighttime with a group of people around you, and you're the only one awake. I'm sure memories you would like to stay hidden make themselves apparent here. And to kind of escape that, you got to take a piss. And you're not afraid of the woods. You've lived here years. You've woken in the middle of night, take a piss many times. So as you kind of make your way to the edge of the forest, you relieve yourself, and as you're about to turn away, there's something that holds you there. You're not sure what exactly it is. It's a familiar, but you've never had the chance to put your finger on what it was. Something is there, and as you kind of peer into the shadows of the trees, you make out the outline of a massive wolf. Its eyes like dinner plates, reflecting the light of the fire. And it sits there for a minute, and it calls out to you. You are the one that wanders the woods.
I am.
The defeated one.
Yes.
Well, why do you return? What? You are a puzzle.
I must repay a debt.
And as you speak to this thing, it kind of comes closer, and you kind of actually start to get a gauge of how large this thing is. Kind of like the image of Saizo missing his leg, and this creature. It makes sense now how he would lose his whole leg. This wolf is every bit as large as what they've been talking about Okkoto being. This wolf, as she approaches, I am Balaam, the wolf god. You must kill Okkoto, for he is old and he is stupid. He leads war on your people, but he does not see that he becomes what he goes to war against. They are stupid, and they are naive to how this place works. What is at work here? Please kill Okkoto. Do not let the war ravage the forest, or much worse things will happen.
Jack kind of pauses for a second and kind of almost thoughtfully he says, I will kill this beast or this beast will kill me. Either way, a monster dies.
And if a wolf could smile, I guess if dogs had lips, you are not defeated. You just merely think that. And as she kind of like stalks to leave, you see that like in the outline, mildly illuminated, you were only looking at like her face and kind of like her shoulder. She is like ghostly white, almost translucent as light reflects off of her. And she has two tails. And like in her fur, you can see these like protrusions of spines in various spots. And like they almost look like deformities even. However, this is the apex predator of this area. And it kind of just saunters away. And behind it, 3 smaller wolves and what appears to be like a little sash thing like caught around the mouth of one of them, and they take off into the woods.
Jack kind of, I guess, buttons his pants back up and walks back.
When you get caught with your pants down by the wolf god, hey, if you're gonna kill me, wait till I zip my pants, please. So you make your way back to the fire, which has kind of died down now. Coals really waiting to be restocked. This kind of brings you to the next shift. Who will be taking third shift?
I will. Reshi,
this is like the hour you're used to being awake, being in the guard. You're stuck on night shifts a lot. Just they're the easier shifts. They suck, but through Gilda's tamperings, you seem to always get stuck on night shift. Whether she's doing that to keep you safe or away from the girls, who knows? So you take third watch, and on the far banks across the water from you, you see, lights flaring from the palisade hitting the like hillock on the other side, and it illuminates shadows with long, thin items, and they kind of scatter back into the trees. And this happens every once in a while. The shots kind of echo through the valley. This is kind of a normal occurrence these days. What's something that'd be going through your head as you're watching the guards do their job while you're out here cold by the fire?
Is there a moon out tonight?
Oh yeah, massive, full.
It's like, so there's even almost like a natural shadow in the woods.
Yeah.
Really? I'm cold on the outside, but inside I'm thinking about my lady love that I spent the day with. She warms me to the core. I think about how she will have to love me if I come back with the head of Okkoto. That would be a hero among the town.
An image of Rishi walking through with like a boar skin coat. Everyone's like, "Oh, Rishi!"
Yes, and I also think about how Everyone has underestimated my true power to this point, and that I will have to prove myself tomorrow.
On the morrow. So, other than that, it's fairly uneventful for you as well. And kind of bringing up the last few hours of the morn until the sun breaches the mountains, which is a little bit later than usual. Badiri, you are on the morning shift.
Yeah, not being accustomed to having to keep watch probably much at all. It's not something that really dawns on him, and he can't see in the dark anyways. So he definitely takes this advantage leading up to his watch to get as much sleep as he can, because he's been on a boat for weeks, and then he went straight into a city, and this is all he wanted, was just the only noise that he could hear is the sounds of the forest, instead of the churning of industry, that is now at least some miles away from them. And he's just kind of sitting there enjoying what he feels is tranquility and quiet of the surrounding forest. But at some point, he kind of starts looking around through the trees. He says, there you are. Yes, come. And this rather large raven comes out of the trees and kind of lands next to him. And it's big for a raven, but it's a normal-sized raven. And next to Badiri, it's enormous looking. And he just kind of starts petting this thing's head as he just kind of stares into the fire. Where have you been? You've been gone for a long time.
And Badiri, there is also a presence you feel that is very like warm and like happy that you are here. It isn't like around you, it's like calling to you from the trees, like a soft rattle. And you're not a baby, it's not like it's just a very soothing, like meditative, rhythmic, almost like the swaying of the trees and the rustle of the leaves. It's like part of it. It's just calling to you.
And yeah, he sits there and continues to pet the raven's head. And he says, this is what we have been missing. Listen to that. They want us here. We are supposed to be here. Yes.
And as you kind of like reach this epiphany of like tranquility, the sun crests the mountains and light cascades over the trees of the forest in front of you, and finally reaching the trunks on the edge of the clearing that you guys reside in, bringing about the new day. The party awakens. Is there any like morning routines you guys go through, or do you just kind of just spring right into adventure?
Badiri carries an iron pot, and he has a hammer to accompany the pittance that he also has. So that's how he wakes the entire camp up, is with this iron pot and this hammer. Just click, 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 click. Wake up, everyone! Come on, it's time to go. We have a dog to kill today.
Jack was sitting in meditation for all of Nabiri's watch. She didn't go back to sleep, but he gets up a little bit before all the pot banging happens, and he makes himself some tea. It looks like he just throws like a fistful of bark into a cup of water, and he kind of sits there silently. Doesn't say anything. He just sits there.
Ren, at the hearing of the pot, he kind of like jumps up. He like rolls out of his bedroll, and he's like up on his feet, and he does this like at attention kind of thing, and then he's like, damn you, Okay.
Rashi springs up. Gracie, ah! And then he kind of comes a little more to and looks around, a little flushed.
Having inappropriate dreams.
He looks down at his pants. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, keep your inappropriate dreams to your side. And he kind of cracks his back. He does a couple stretches, and he kind of goes to the other side of this tree. And he's gonna do like a morning ritual. He does where he like takes out all of his arrows. He's like going over each one of them, and he's just checking them all, make sure they're all straight. All the arrowheads are on tight. The fletching's on tight. And he's going to, and if any of you were to see closely enough, like to like peer at him and like see what he's doing, you could see that that a certain number of his arrows have very specific writings on them, just like written down the shaft. But only a few of his arrows are like that. And when he's done, he packs it all back up, and he comes back from around the tree.
Roshi kind of pretty chipper in the morning. Doesn't really need to do any stretches. He's not much more than 17 years old. But he is going to load a round into his musket.
Kind of out of nowhere, kind of not even like it's a big piece of information, just kind of like he's talking about the weather or something. Jack speaks up and says, "I glimpsed the wolf god last night. She came to me."
Rishi, this would seem as like a you lucky dog. This is like for those who've seen it, seem to experience like really good luck in the days following, like avoiding random hazards. Like the last guy you heard about it was a logger you talked to on break a lot. He's seen the wolf god, and a few days later a tree fell and like, you know, right in front of him, inches away from him, but he was unharmed. You know, there was a fisherman that seen her, and he got like 4 days haul worth of fish in 2 hours. So this would be like, oh, what to you?
Why didn't you wake any of us? We could have gotten more we could have gotten more bounty out of it. Come back with 2 godheads.
She was not a threat. She left with her kin.
I bet that Sizer would disagree.
Yeah, I think he would. But for the best. I hear the wolf god is a bit of a, well, for lack of a better term, a bitch. Let's just stick with the boar.
He says the boar must die.
Good.
It is good to know that some of the gods are on our side.
He actually thinks about it for a second, and he kind of looks at Jack and Badiri. Why would the other gods want a god dead? It's a bit strange, isn't it?
My friend,
The gods is strange.
exactly what he said. Yes, the gods are very strange.
Well, it's fair enough. As long as they don't interfere and try to take our kill.
We shall see.
Mm-hmm. And he's kind of like eating his rations, just like the dried meats and stuff like that. He kind of looks over at your little cup of bark tea, and he's like, "You got any left?"
He just passes the half full cup over to you.
Yeah, and he chugs it. And he's like, "Ah."
It's awful.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Roots.
I was like, all right.
It is dirt. It's not even roots. It's just a handful of dirt.
This is my punishment.
I seek to atone through purity.
And actually, like he shakes it off and oh, hey, Jack. Notice you seem to be very good with that battle axe. You got a lot of practice with it?
Yes.
He's kind of like waiting for more, and when that awkward time period has passed, when it seems like you're not gonna explain anymore, he's like, okay, what you used to do? Were you a soldier or something?
Or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories about orcs and their axes. It seems like you guys are. It seems to be a very traditional thing for you guys.
Many orcs use axes, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, good talk. As he goes over to Reshi and he's just like shrugging, he's like, I can't talk to this guy. All right. And it's still like there's this like gnawing feeling in the back of his head. He's like going over stuff. And he just shakes it off. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he's a strange one. Could be worse though. Could be worse off after 15 years in the forest. So,
like, and he kind of like takes a pause and looks at Reggie, like straight, like just 15 straight years in the forest.
15 straight years.
Madness.
At least he's kept some civility about himself.
And he looks over to you, Reggie. What would you do if you couldn't see another human being or another girl for 15 years?
I would be long dead before I would ever be found without a lady friend.
So Badiri is like kind of patting himself down. Oh no. Did any of you drink a wineskin that you saw? A large wineskin? It was made of doe skin? No? Oh.
Didn't you drink that last night?
No. And he kind of pulls out this wineskin that he just described, but it's completely empty and flaccid. We have to go back to town.
Why?
I have nothing to drink.
What, like, do you need water? I have an extra water skin.
Water? Not water. Wine. We are going to go face a god, and I have no wine to drink.
You want to lose 2 days?
What am I going to do?
He goes up to Badiri. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna forward you this amount of money, and like puts a gold piece in your hand, so you can buy all the wine you want when we get home. Yeah?
I have coin. I just don't have wine.
Just wait until we get back from the hunt, and then it'll be well-earned wine.
My goodness, this is going to be a very long day. Oh.
Reshi kind of scratches his head. He goes, all right, Badiri. Just because I'm sick of listening to you. And he tosses you a small canteen of, I don't know, whiskey.
He kind of catches it, kind of fumbling a little bit, and then looks down at it, opens it up, and kind of, whoa.
Mm-hmm. That's the Iron Hill brandy smell.
Uh-huh.
Oh, be careful. I hear that stuff can peel the paint off a wall.
Mm-hmm. It's also used as in the industry as a paint thinner.
His eyes kind of get big. and he like tosses back a couple of swigs. Oh, it's pretty good stuff. And he kind of corks it, and he tucks the flask into his own belt.
Yeah, just go easy on that stuff. Crazy little man.
That's funny. So you guys have effectively packed up your camp, and there is like a small pathway leading into the woods that Rem, you are aware of because you followed this path a few days ago when you came out here the last time. And Rishi, you have been out here a few times, whether being bold or being drunk, or some combination of the two. As you approach this path, it's wide enough for you to walk 2 by 2. It's daylight. You have very good visibility now that the sun's out. And just walking into the tree line, there is a like immediate change in the atmosphere. Just earthy, rich, wet dirt smells and like old trees. The wind is fairly stiff in here, but it's not like stale. It's very refreshing, and there's just like an overwhelming sense of like living things here. Like, no matter what you touch, it's alive. And it's almost like a magical essence to it. Badiri, you feel this magical essence probably more so than anyone else. You are walking on air right now. This is the most at home you've felt in months. And as you guys proceed to walk into the forest, the audible rattle noise, Badiri, that you heard the night before is playing itself again, but you are fairly certain everyone hears it because you guys are all kind of looking around, trying to pinpoint the location of this echo that's kind of all around you. And as you proceed for a little while, you see what is making these noises, and it's these humanoid. They're small sprites, green in color. Their eyes empty, black holes, and like a hollow head that clicks to the side and makes a rattle. Though the loggers don't see them very much, the hunters have seen them more so than anyone else. These are the forest sprites, the tree spirits. They are as numerous as there are trees in this forest. So as you can imagine, the loggers are not someone that these sprites would come around. But they're very like chipper and gleeful and playful and kind of when they go to tug on you, it's like they can grab onto you, but they don't have the strength to move your clothing, let alone they're literally like weaker than the wind. They can't even do anything to you. They're just kind of playfully jumping about you. And how do you guys respond?
Jack, it's almost like he doesn't know that they're there. He's seen these before. It's nothing new to him. He just leaves them alone, and they leave him alone, basically.
Jack has definitely seen these quite numerously, though they usually there's like a circle that they won't pass. They are curious of you, but that circle, though much smaller, still radiates about you. They won't cross into you, though they there is one that's kind of like got a huge pot belly and like a small head with 2 small eyes. He's kind of just been like walking beside you, but not looking at you. And to actually, no, he is looking at you. And every time you look at him, he looks forward. and you'll look away and you'll look back and then look forward again.
Ren is just kind of like half-heartedly like swatting them away, trying to get them off, just get them away from them. It's like, I hate these damn things. They always give away my position when I'm hunting.
And they most definitely do. You can hear like the scuffle of things kind of leaping away out of eyesight in the woods as these things rattle about you.
Reshi begins by swatting at them furiously with almost like a hatred. But then he kind of picks up on their playful nature, and they almost touch a certain soft spot in his heart. This
is probably the first time you've ever seen these. Most of the time when you're out here, it's escorting oxen or in the company of loggers or other guards who share your mentality. So these things usually aren't something that would occur normally around you.
I'm sure he's heard of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd say he's kind of hated them up until the point where he's actually seen them and can actually understand what they're all about. And he kind of maybe entertains them a little bit. I don't know. They kind of, I don't know, helps them do little acrobatics, I guess.
Yeah, you see one that's been like toppled over. It like tripped over something, and its arms are so small that it can't upright itself. So you like pick it up, and it feels almost like paper in your hand. So it's like you pick it up and you like immediately like make yourself gently hold this thing and upright it. And you see like where you're touching it, there are like fade marks where you can see through it now and into like the interior of its body. And it kind of like shakes itself as if it is hurt or I'm afraid, and kind of like whimpers off into the woods. But none of the other ones seem to have paid it any mind.
And Badiri is like playing with them. He's chasing them and letting them chase him, and he's laughing and kind of jumping and tumbling on the ground and stuff. Very much engaged with them. And at one point, he kind of scoops up 2 big armfuls of, dead leaves and, pine needles or whatever's on the forest floor, and actually kind of throws them up in the air. And as they settle back down, he's gone.
He's disappeared.
Yep, he's invisible. And he kind of stays that way for a long period of time. He's actually going to wait even to see if anybody in the party even reacts.
Jack.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Jack, for the first time since you guys met him, Jack finally pulls back his hood. He's got this, it's a half orc face, but it leans more human than orc. And his tusks are filed down. And he kind of looks around and is like, where's the small one?
Ren points at a spot. Like, he was right there. And he's just like looking around. I think he used magic to disappear.
There's a big raven, that same raven that kind of was with him earlier, flies overhead. And as it does so, the raven kind of says, "Was once here, gone now, never more to be found." And then Badiri reappears in the same spot where he was standing before, and he's just, "Did I trick you? I think I did. You all look very, very worried. I am here, don't worry. Badiri is still here."
You're making this joke, and the whole time, Ren had his like immediately as that bird spoke, had his like arrow drawn and like knocked. He's like, "What?" And then you start laughing. He's like, "You make the bird talk."
Yes. Yes, he is my friend, Carrion.
Jack has no sense of humor. He just says, "Stay in sight. It's easy to die in the woods."
I see, yes. You have buried a lot of things while you were out in the woods, I think. Most of all, your sense of humor.
She's like awestruck. He's, whoa! Wow, how'd you do that? And the talking bird, jeez, oh Pete.
See, I told you, the forest spirit, it has given me powers.
You're some sort of druid?
No, but I know of druids. These are the gifts that the forest spirit has given to me.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of con artists come through town. We'll see. We'll see you demonstrate your powers.
So at this point, you guys, I guess maybe didn't realize it, but maybe when the leaves fell, you seem to have knocked yourself off course. So I'm going to need you guys to roll some dice for the first time in this game, and someone give me a survival check.
I got a 15 plus 5, so 20.
The forest is my I can't remember what it's called. My home terrain.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I don't know if we can get lost here. Well, I can't.
I don't think any of you can get lost here.
Yeah, look, you get advantage on your roll.
Sorry, you guys don't really have to roll dice. I lied to you. I mean, but one of you has lived here for 15 years. One of you has lived here for 17 years, and one of you is an expert tracker. So you're pretty sure of your location as of right now, and it's on path. So you keep following these things along with you in your course to the marker on the map you seen the night before, and it takes you over a ridge or two, and you see in the distance like a massive an uprising of stone that levels out into like a plateau. And this is like a clearing that you can see farther into the valley that's lower in elevation. And you see... Actually, I'll have you roll for that. Give me a perception check. Oh, there they are. You gotta roll all the 20s right now. Get them out of here. Okay, so Jack is contemplating something, and the rest of you see it clear as day, like ants moving across the side of this cliff face, tail to snout, boars, hundreds, marching single file, maybe double file, or along a path in the mountains that you didn't think was probably passable. And atop a cliff overlooking this, you see him, a titan covered in fur, his tusks the size of long swords, maybe even larger. And whereas the other boars look like ants across this cliff face, he could very well be normal size, even at this distance. The amount of bacon you could pull off this guy would feed Irontown for generations. And just as you start to acknowledge him, you see his head turn. And before you can move or do anything, his gaze has met yours. Though he is not looking at you, the once yellow eyes of the guardian of the forest have now faded over and glazed as they now only peer off into the distance, no longer capable of sight. But somehow, just as you have seen him, he is aware of you. What would you guys? Do you guys want to scurry into the woods? Would you like to carry on the trail over this kind of like outcropping of rocks until you reach the trail that you are heading? There isn't really a threat at this moment. Reactions to Okkoto, maybe?
Well, there goes our element of surprise. As he stares at the beast from across the canyon or the ravine.
Reshi kind of clenches his fist and grits his teeth and kind of thinks to himself, I see you, Koto, and I will defeat you. Very anime-esque.
Badiri kind of standing there looking. Shit, he is big. But is he blind? How is he seeing us? Look at his eyes.
Ren points at his nose.
Ah. Yes, you're right. It's probably my fault.
I was wondering, Ren is trying to think, like he looked at the map before. He knows he didn't live in these woods, but he's gone through them before. Seeing where the Boar King, where Okkoto is now, is there any way I can figure out like a way to cut him off, or just instead of trying to go down the predicted path?
Is there any way I can assist with this if he has to roll? Since I would know the paths and stuff.
Muted, Baron.
Go ahead. Who? It doesn't matter who. One of you give me a nature check with advantage, because you're kind of helping each other out. And as you guys are kind of plotting, there is a rustle at the edge of like where you guys are standing, and an element I should have included from the very beginning that I hadn't thought of until just now were two figures clad in fur and mud, are kind of like hunched over in the undergrowth. And Jack, you would have no idea what the hell this is. You haven't seen this in the woods before. Ren and Badiri, both of you on your ship ride here, a lot of the either passengers or crew were affiliates of the Empire, or soldiers or crewmen or sailors of the Empire. This is a colony of of an empire across the sea, nameless at the moment because I didn't prepare. Like, nonetheless, so this empire has been secretly sending hunters and traders that have not been going to Iron Hill, and that is something you would have noticed on your trek inland. Is these people didn't get off with you guys? They stayed after. So it was kind of odd that the hunters would stay on the boat longer than you when there's only one spot to get off at. As it's all kind of clicking, as these guys are kind of waving you over to come to the side of the rock face to them. And just as like this is kind of coming to culmination, Jack and Ren have come up with a route that would successfully cut off Okkoto.
The Boar God travels this way. We can cut him off if we go this way.
Yeah, I agree with Jack. No.
It's like right then you hear, "Hey, come on, get down. What are you doing? You're going to give it all away. Come on."
Yeah, Ren follows. Ren goes into there into the coverage to meet with the mud people.
And they look just like that. They are like a furred creature with like mud smeared on their face, twigs and leaves stuck to wherever. It's definitely a man, though, human. Beside him, the other one, definitely a dwarf, very stocky. This is the first dwarf you've seen here at all. Actually, Rishi, you've never seen a dwarf before.
I guess Rishi runs over and kind of crouches down with him.
And anyone who has arrived here, I mean, even Jack in his previous experience would know about the Empire. He's like, "What? You're just going to walk out and give away our whole operation? We're going to take down the Boar God, you silly idiot."
Yeah, I'll do that myself if it comes down to it.
And
strange big gnome thing.
They look at each other. Yeah, sure as hell you will. All right, well, the boss is going to want to talk to you if you're going to stick around for killing the boar.
Hold on. Sorry, but we got a time crunch here. I don't got time. We don't have time to talk to your boss.
There's like a bird that kind of like appears out of a tree. It looks like a bird, but it's like some sort of like device or something that like flaps twice and then falls into the trees. And he's like, "Over there. That's where we're camped. It's on the route I imagine that you planned." And it is. It's in between where you have to go in there. That's our base camp.
Badiri kind of leans close to Jack. Are the rivers here not safe for bathing?
Some are.
I just don't understand why. Do they not realize that they're covered with mud and dirt?
Everything else is. It's camouflage.
Camouflage. Oh, yes, I see. Like a lizard.
Yes.
Aha, that is smart. I understand now. He kind of bends down and starts scooping up dirt and like smearing it on himself.
Maybe we'll stop by the camp if we feel like it. I've been in this kind of situation before. I know when People want you to talk to their boss when you're hunting something. It's always like, oh, let's work together and kill the beast, and then I have to share the gold. I'm not very interested in that. I want to go by classic hunting rules here. First come, first serve. We get it first, we get the whole kill. You guys don't bother us with it. And then he kind of like turns around to like say like, let's get going. And then he looks at you. I keep forgetting your name. Badiri. He's like, good camouflage. But not all of that was dirt. And then he walks away.
Yes, I know. But, it's around here too.
And he's like, what is he like? Shit, I just had what I was going to say, but it's not all dirt. He's like, if you're okay, I got it. If you're just looking for gold from Lady Samushi, we could give a shit less. We just need Okkoto dead so we can start this operation. Get the iron works going. We need the iron. Can't have some stupid old boar get in the way of that. You take the 500 gold from the snake lady. We'll make our money. Don't worry.
He turns around at that. Okay, that I can deal with.
How many are you?
2 of us, 4 more outranging. Probably about 14 at camp, including the boss.
Could you possibly kill all of the other pigs, or at least draw them away from Okkoto?
We can handle the pigs. We also have a contingency plan for Okkoto. Honestly, we didn't. I'm not even sure the boss will even go with it. But if I go so far as to say a contingency plan, you guys might be the contingency plan.
Well, we are a plan. That is for sure. We are a destiny, as a matter of fact. I am Badiri.
He chuckles. Destiny. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
All right. So you say you could distract the boars? When do you plan on doing that?
And he like points over the tree line to like a peak in line with the sun. When the sun hits that peak, this whole valley reaches twilight a hell of a lot sooner than it's supposed to. That will blind the boars. Blind boars are dumb boars, and they were already dumb to start with. And like he's kind of reluctant to carry on. I'm not sure if I can tell you the plan. You can talk to the boss if you want to find out. Otherwise, I'm going to have to send you back.
Send me back where? You don't mean back to the Iron Hill, do you?
He looks you up and down. Home by the looks of it. To your ma, boy.
I'll send you home to the forest spirit, biatch.
Okay, and Ren gets in the way of that. It's like, all right, that's it. We don't got time for this. Let's get going. We'll talk to this guy's boss, and maybe we can work something out. I just want to get this thing done, get home, get my money.
So you guys follow these 2 guys over a hill and up onto like another rock outcropping that you were on before, but this one is like significantly more shaded by like a curling tree, a massive curling tree. This tree is easily thousands of years old, thicker around than the 4 of you can reach holding hands. And beneath it are, a group of guys, and one of them sticks out. It's a shorter man, probably gnome height, but not gnome in feature as you approach. And he's on these like big wooden sandals. And he is kind of like addressing a couple people, and you see like on carts, actually not, yeah, on carts, you can see like an oxen trail, and like the remains of the oxen that had been eaten. There's like these big carts of like these square stones with string hanging out of them. The two guys kind of escort you up there and bring you to this odd figure among the rest in furs and mud. And he like, dismisses the two, and he looks to, his two men. What the hell is this? I guess I don't want his voice to sound like, what the hell is this? What are you bringing me? Stragglers? Four wannabes? What's going on?
That kind of speaks up. Says, it is our intention to kill Okkoto, the Boar God.
Forest is ripe with heroes, it seems. I bet y'all want to kill the Boar God, don't you?
Yeah. Actually, I heard someone say that you really need the Boar God gone so you can make some money. So I think we'd be willing to risk our lives to do that for you if you would pay us.
You want to talk money? Why didn't you show up 6 days ago when I had to cart 3 oxen out here with these carts? That's money.
What's on those carts anyways? What are those things?
What do you know about black powder?
It's the stuff that's in Iron Hill's guns, right?
Yep, the stuff that goes boom. Do you know what happens when you put a lot of it in one spot? It goes boom. And he like says it much louder.
Oh, okay. How many of those things were there? How many did I see?
Probably like 100 of them a cart.
Jesus. Ah. Is that to scare off the boar?
Scare off, maim, or otherwise destroy.
How are you going to get them to him?
And like you now see, like as you kind of like turn to his view, the path that they're gonna take kind of meanders like right under the rock that you guys are perched on. Well, you see, as soon as they cross under that path, I'm gonna knock about 100, 200 of these over the cliff edge and blow them off the side. Because next to that is like a probably 75-foot drop to maybe more than that, like 200-foot drop to the river that's flowing through this valley.
Not very sporting, but it'll work.
Yeah, I agree with you on the sporting part, but effectiveness is effectiveness. How do you kill a god? Well, you make it so you can't hit it anymore. I don't really care if you're immortal, if you're in tiny pieces. What? When I eat you, does that make my shit immortal? Yeah.
So then the plan is for us to wait here?
We're going to wait here. You can do whatever the hell you want.
That's very kind.
I guess not whatever the hell you want. Don't fuck up our plan.
Fair enough. So he kind of turns to the rest of the group. We go after this dog, yes?
Yeah, we'll just let them do their plan. Yeah, that's fine by me. Go your own way.
Excellent.
Well, if you're going to take off after the god, I guess I should let you know that he's not traveling the lead of the pack. His right hand, Nago, is. Just dumb as he is. Okkoto seems to be heading due south toward the old grove where we last seen the forest spirit. we're not going over there. We could give a shit less about Okkoto being the maimed or destroyed one. 16 of us could kill him just by jumping on him like a swarm of ants. It's the rest of the herd we're worried about. So we're going to handle them. If you want to tackle the boar, tango with them till we get there.
That sounds like a plan. That means we don't have to deal with all the boar. Thanks for the heads up on his location.
Yeah. Don't die, and if you do, at least hurt him a little bit. And with that, he kind of like goes back to what he's doing. Jack, you are aware of this grove of the forest spirit. There's like a large tree, kind of like down or north of you that you can see from where you're standing. Like out of all the trees, this is probably the tallest. Like it's kind of like a dome over the rest of the trees that have like flattened out. It's, you know, for the sake of convenience, about the time you get there will be about the time that these boars are going under this rock face. So
Jack speaks up and kind of points over towards the tree. It's like, Okkoto, the boar god, heads this way. We will find our fight here.
Okay. In that case, keep showing us the way. And since we're on the way, it'd probably be good if we have a plan of attack. Jack, I take it you're a frontline kind of guy?
I also have a bow.
That might be best. What about you, Badiri?
Badiri is kind of walking along, somewhat unusually quiet after they've said that we're walking towards our fight. Once it looks like it's somewhat close, you've noticed that Badiri is actually kind of reaching out and grabbing at like the kind of dappled shadows the leaves are kind of casting on all of us as we're walking. And he's kind of grabbing at the shadows and like pulling towards himself. But you notice that as he's doing so, the shadows stay on him. And after a while, these shadows start to look like armor. He is going to be using Armor of Shadows, one of his other Warlock invocations. It gives me mage armor. But whenever Ren asks him the question, he is going to say, I do the forest gods, the forest spirits bidding, usually a little further away than you might. And he kind of reaches over and taps the sword scabbard at your hip.
Okay. If that's the case, it seems like we all have we're all pretty good at range. So, okay, if that's the case, I say we once we get close enough to the tree, we all kind of fan out. So
we might be able to climb up the tree or into a tree.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'd be kind of afraid of him running through the tree.
Sure.
But that's a good idea, sniper post.
Unless the tree is equally old.
True. If you can find a good sniper spot, definitely take it. Except for you, Jack. I say we put your muscle to good use. Would you be willing to basically take a ground, be on the ground firing arrows until you get within charging range, and then occupy it so he can't take us out as we pump it full of arrows and magic and bullets?
That was my plan.
Okay. I got a couple tricks up my sleeve. Let's just try to make sure that none of us hit Jack while we're doing any of our specialties. Okay, then we got a plan.
And with that, you head off into the forest. Almost as if instinctually, Ren and I said it right. Rishi, Ren, and Jack, you are all kind of like in stride following into the woods. Badiri, as you guys walk, you are much more distracted because the forest spirits are kind of attracting your attention. They are really only not. They appear to everyone, but they're really only interacting with you. Everyone else has kind of like a ring around them as they march towards this destination. Almost like there's a fear or hesitation of the three of them and not of you. That's what a fucking pug is. Good one. And it takes a couple hours to arrive on your location, but as you get there, you witness a holy place in terms of nature. This is a spring that probably nourishes the body of this forest. The water is clear, almost as clear as glass. You can see right to the bottom with just a hint of blue. There is trees thicker than the one that you were standing under hours ago. There are small plants that are usually small that are massive in size. Ferns that their leaves are 10, 15 feet across, massive. And as you enter closely, give me a perception check. So as you all critically perceive the situation, the water is filled with bones. Some you could definitely identify as human. Some gnome, maybe, halfling. But a lot of the bones are huge in size and animal-esque in feature, covered in the sand and muck that lies at the bottom. Some almost completely covered until they are undistinguishable in what they are. You see tusks, you see lupine heads, you see rodent-esque heads, all sorts of different kinds of beast creatures, corpse or remains litter this, all fleshless, their bones pearlescent as you enter this grove. And Badiri, as you all kind of like enter this clearing, in a mound of soil that's kind of like upraised, kind of out into this spring, you see a three-toed footprint, unlike anything you've ever experienced in your life thus far, and a sense of nostalgia strikes you in a weird way, almost painful, as it is so close to being on the tip of your tongue that you can't. It's infuriating that you are just out of reach for what you're looking for. Whatever made this track is the deity that has called you here. This is the closest you've ever come.
Badiri has been kind of staring into the water, wondering how it can be so pristine and clear with so much muck and decay lying at its bottom. But that's when he notices the footprint and he kind of, his jaw kind of drops open, and he kind of walks over to it quickly, and he kind of bends down and starts like tracing the edges of it with his fingers, very cautiously and reverently. Look, he's been here. He's been here. This is the right place. We have come to the right place, finally.
Yeah, we have. Now shut up.
What? Why?
If he hears us, we'll have a problem.
If who hears us? Okkoto?
Yes.
He should hear us. We are here to kill him.
I love Badiri's character. Yeah, we're gonna kill this massive thing. Duh. And as Badiri's words echo off the trees, it's quiet. Whereas the rest of the forest has been vibrant with color as well as sound, this is only vibrant in color. It is so quiet here.
Ren is very, his whole mood has gotten very dour. He's very attentive. He's very sharp right now. He's looking around. He's trying to make sure he's not missing something, because we're expecting Okkoto to get here, and I really don't want him to surprise us. Is there any way I can make it a perception check for that, or?
Absolutely, roll it up. Please ask me to roll the dice because I'm obviously not doing a good job of that.
I feel bad that we all keep rolling so high for these perception checks because we're gonna.
I'm not making you roll enough. It's like not depleting your crit meter. It's like so you guys just keep building it up. Yeah. You have who needs inspiration when you roll this good?
Yeah. So I put it in the chat.
Okay. As you're kind of running through the plan in your head and thinking what you just said aloud, you see a ripple in the pond. And then another. And then another. And you hear it. The creaks of trees shifting to the side. You hear stones crushing under massive weight. Footsteps like thunder moving through the forest. Slow, but rhythmic and consistent. Trees yielding at whatever is making these noises.
Ren is making hand signs like as I want to, as Ren like takes a spot like behind a tree or a rock or something, like maybe some like large root, and he takes his bow out and gets it ready. I would like to roll stealth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, mother. The second it's important. Don't even bother. It's a negative one. It's
a negative one.
No, it's not negative. Natural one, I should say.
You shout at Okkoto. You announce yourself to Okkoto.
For all my berating. I trip on the root. I'm at Okkoto's.
Yeah, I want to say that you like go to step on a stone and the moss is slick and you actually just kind of splash backwards. Not like obnoxious splash, but like you fell into some water. Jack said the bow is coming out. So what would you like to prepare at all, or are you just kind of slinking? Would you like to roll stealth?
Yeah, he's gonna try to stealth kind of behind a tree from where all the sound's coming from, like on the other side of a tree, with just the arrow bow coming out, so he can still shoot. It's a natural 20.
So yeah, you find perfect cover as you see like the looming shadow of this creature moving your way.
Is there a large tree around that I can climb up?
Absolutely. I'm going to ask a athletics check followed by a stealth check.
Not a acrobatics check? It doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah. I'll take it, acrobatics.
Acrobatics would be 5.
Honestly, as you kind of look around the trees, they grow very far upright before any branches start. So there's not like a whole lot you can grip onto without like creating some sort of apparatus to climb it. And you just happen to be in a spot where there's like no fallen limbs or anything near you to do so. Badiri, are you preparing for this at all?
Yeah, Yuri is like I said, he's completed his Armor of Shadows before they even got here, and that should, I think it lasts for a number of hours, if I'm not mistaken. He is going to move kind of off to the side so that he's not the most obvious or visible target. He's not actually going to take an action to hide, however, because he is taking an action to ready a spell. As he starts to kind of prepare the casting of this spell by pulling out a small bit of wool from one of his pouches, and is starting to kind of work it into a kind of a flat fleece-like square. And so he's readying to cast a spell whenever he can see the creature. But he wants to stay 60 feet away from the pond if he can.
All right, so as you all ready yourselves for the incoming storm, he breaks the clearing, and the magnificent creature you've only seen from afar is just as magnificent, if not more so, now that you see him in person. The only thing that he is easily comparable to in size is the large boulders that litter the landscape that easily could weigh upwards of hundreds of tons. This creature, his muscles and sinews and tendons must be like the length of cable and rope used in sails on ships. He is absolutely incredible, dwarfing all of you in size and stature. Badiri most of all, who may not even be taller than the top of his hoof. And you see that he is panting, his breath ragged. He does not look as if he is in the prime of health, as magnificent as he is. So that I'm going to go ahead and let you guys do what you will. I think Badiri's ready.
Yeah, Badiri had had prepared this spell, and as soon as Okkoto kind of enters this this clearing, he is going to finish his spell, kind of taking that piece of wool that he had worked into fleece and kind of almost pulling it apart into just bare strands as they kind of blow away on the wind. But as they blow away from him, they don't follow just any random wind. They kind of float and dance straight into the water of the pond. And only in Okkoto's eyes do a large portion of these bones start to jerk into like a strange kind of anatomy and rise up out of the water into this monstrosity. I am using the spell Phantasmal Force to create an illusion that only he can see. It is up to a 10-foot cube. He needs to make an intelligence saving throw.
He's not good at those.
Perfect.
All right, 12.
My DC is a 15.
So, as this conjuration appears before him, he doesn't see it as much as he smells it and hears it kind of shamble forth from the waters. And I just imagine that your ability to produce visual illusions is kind of mirrored by your ability to produce audio and or oral olfactory or whatever it's called.
Yeah, it says this phantasm includes sound, temperature, and other stimuli.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So you see him like, you use the very magic of the forest spirit against me. Why has he turned? And like his attention is completely. What was it? I needed to roll, or I was what?
If he failed the save, he sees or feels.
He believes it.
Yeah, he believes the
Okay,
phantasm to be real.
Yeah. So he is distracted by this coalescence of bone.
An affected target is so convinced of the phantasm's reality that it can even take damage from the illusion. A phantasm created to appear as a creature can attack the target. Similarly, a phantasm created to appear as fire. Blah, 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 blah. Each round on your turn, the phantasm can deal 1d6 psychic damage to the target if it is in the phantasm's area or within 5 feet.
Hell yeah. So you have made an undead construct that is part boar, part wolf, part various woodland critter, all morphed into one.
So if he is within 5 feet of it, I would like to have it attack him.
Yeah, I mean that's up to you if you wanted to. I almost picture this thing as probably like a depiction of the forest spirit, like elk-esque,
Yeah,
but like
probably,
a human face.
Right, but it's like all of these bones like fit together in like
shards and stuff, and so
Right.
like it's not like a skull that makes the face; it's all these like ill-fitted together bone pieces.
Like his antlers are a bunch of bones, like just put
Yeah,
together.
like femurs and yeah, that's solid. So yeah, as he like is entering the spring, like his feet sinking deep into the mud. So this thing would be right in front of him. How would you? Does it make an attack roll, or does it just deals 1d? I think it just deals 1d6 damage.
It says it just deals damage.
Yeah. So however you depict this thing, maybe like it's like sucking the life out of him, where it takes a swipe at him. I guess that's up to you.
Yeah, I think these bones that form one of this thing's kind of front legs kind of rears back as it kind of leans back, and then it drives this thing forward and actually embeds a bunch of these broken shards of bone and stuff just straight into his body and leaving some of them there.
Yeah, you see some of these like shards sticking out of his snout and like shoulder. Some of them falling away, but some of them stuck hard in his flesh. So yeah, give me some damage.
Put it in the chat, but it was only 3 points.
It's 3 points. It's 3 points. The rest of you effectively have advantage because he is distracted.
I'll go. Or if you can go, Jack, if you want. I'll go. I got my dice ready. So Reshi, he's hanging back. He's not in the water, up in any trees or anything. He's down on one knee, aiming the old musket. The boar spirit. Quick question. At level 5, Rangers get an extra attack. I wouldn't be able to use my musket, would I? Because it's reload.
With that, I would let you reload it and fire in the same turn.
Okay. Cool.
I'm not entirely sure how that mechanic works for that kind of situation, so it's worth looking into in the future.
So he attacks with a 24.
Yes, you most definitely hit.
And he does 16 damage.
You do the D4 for fire?
Yep. It's including that. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
1D4. Whatever you get on the D4, double it.
It's 16, so whatever I get on the D4, double it.
Yeah, for fire damage, you do 1D10 plus 1D4 for fire damage.
Okay. So I got, when I rolled my 1D4, it comes out to 16, but if I double the 1D4, it'd be 20.
Okay. That's a lot easier than 16. So yeah, you see the flesh around this injury ripple as blood kind of like leaves the entry wound as this bolt enters it, and he lets out the most intense scream you've ever heard a creature make in its life. I need you all to make wisdom saves.
Is this against fear?
Yes. So you would have advantage.
Sweet.
Okay. So, Rem, you have heard something like this before. Not very often, but on a few occasions, the bounties that fight the hardest or die the hardest scream like this. That's the only thing you can compare it to. The fury of death. Jack, you've also heard this before. You both heard this for the same reason, actually, just from different perspectives of the law. And then Badiri and Rishi. You probably, like I said, never heard anything like this before, and it shakes you like a cold wind shakes the frozen pines. It's winter just hits you at one moment, the entirety of winter. And you are afraid, stricken with fear. Not entirely sure what that effect does off the top of my head.
It makes you run away from the caster, doesn't it?
I don't think you can directly attack it. I don't think you can move any closer to it. I'm kind of curious if it says how I handle having a spell. If I have to make a concentration roll or something.
Probably.
Frightened has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight. And the creature can't willingly move closer to the source of its fear.
Can you get rid of fear?
I think you typically repeat the saving throw at the end of each of your turns. And if you pass, you're immune to like the next 24 hours or something. Typically, that's how it works, I think.
Okay. So yeah, both of you are paralyzed with fear, but I'm going to need initiative from all of you. Okay. Okay. So that's Jack. Rishi. Jack. Oh, go ahead.
Did everybody get their initial jump on?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Right now, did Rem get his?
I was just putting it on myself since I got a 1 on my stealth check. I think I used my whole surprise to try to get to a more advantageous position. You know.
Gotcha. And
That's
I
all
guess I didn't ask Jack. Jack, did you fire a lucid shaft at this thing?
Just one attack.
It's your jump. If you have 2 attacks, make 2.
Okay. I'll make 2 of them. Can I use a bonus action on this, or would this not come to my turn?
Go for it.
All right. I'm going to use my bonus action for Kinsai shot. I'm going to take 2 shots with my bow. 8 plus 13 for the first one. Well, you said this was advantage, didn't you? Because he was surprised?
Yes.
Okay. We'll roll that one then. Well, that's much better. 20 for the first one. 15 plus 5. And for the second, 18, 23 for the second.
So you got 18 and 23, both hits.
Oh, okay. So that's 1d8 plus 2 plus a d4. All right, the first one, 10 damage for the first. And, ooh, that was good. 5 for the second.
So, as your shafts enter the flesh of the boar god, and what you would imagine to be critical strikes, his death wail starts to wane, and you see blood coagulating on the surface of his fur. Small at first, but then in long tendrils, leaving his body and wiggling like worms attached to his flesh. It's starting to coat his entire being with these writhing black worms. Black, like congealed blood that's aged and dried. And you hear him. You will feel my anger. You will feel my hate. And in the pond, you can see these worms like start to wiggle and dissipate and leave like a black sludginess in the water that taints the clarity. And he turns his head and makes one final pig squeal before it is curdled out and gurgles in silence. All right, Jack, top of the order.
Is he still like 50 feet away, or has he moved closer?
He's turned and is moving your way.
All right, he's going to drop his bow, draw his new axe and his crappy wood cutting axe. Before he does that, though, he reaches into his robes and pulls out a wooden mask and puts it on his face. He kind of stands there for a second, kind of breathing hard, and he just charges. He's going to come in, 2 axe strikes, and then a unarmed strike. $17 for the first.
17 is a hit.
All right, and the second is a 13 for the second hit of the axes.
13 will not hit.
All right, and then for the unarmed strike, that won't hit either, but the first axe does. So that's going to be D8 plus 3. I just had a D8 there. For 11 damage.
So the steel or the iron of your axe slams into the flesh that is writhing with these worms, and it sinks deep, and you feel them bursting beneath your weapon. They fly off, and I need you to make a dexterity save.
Alrighty. Natural 20.
So yeah, you see like 3 of them kind of detach and go to fall on you, but you are too quick. You remove your weapon and prepare to attack again before they can even so much as pass through the air by you. Rishi.
So Reshi at the end of his last turn obviously started packing more gunpowder in the musket, and as he did so, you could see his resolve double on his face. He got a good strong blow on Okkoto, and he must follow up with another good one to really prove his worth in this battle. So he takes a knee, pulls the trigger. All right, nat 20.
Yeah, I would like to fight you guys. Stop hitting him.
All right, so here's the thing. I'm gonna need some help here because I'm rolling a lot of dice. I can't hear you.
You have a total of 14 plus dex right now.
Okay, so it's 1 max, and then
Yep, and then what I'm going to have you do is take the max of everything. So your 1d10 is 10, and then the plus 4 damage, which will be doubled for 18, and then add your dex.
and so that's 21.
Now roll that.
Okay, and then that's
Actually, I think you have to roll to see if you can attack him because you're afraid.
Oh shoot, man! I just rolled a 10.
I'll let you take the 20 for the wisdom save in compensation for the fact that you're not going to get a crit on this guy.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So do you want me to roll attack roll?
I don't think. Can you do that in the same turn?
It wouldn't be the same turn, I don't think.
Yeah, you can attack. I guess it's at the end of your turn. Disadvantage on the attack.
All right. Well, first roll's a 13. The other one was a 3 plus 8 would be 11, which is a miss.
Yeah,
that's all right. All right.
You still feel the echoes of his cry as this creature now writhes toward you. 4 legs, now 6 snake-like appendages that whip about, pistoning this thing along the water towards you, Rishi. So much so that in its charge, it's bursting through the stones, and it is going to make an attack. Hold on 1 second. Does a 17 hit?
Reshi, yeah, hits.
You take a total of 19 damage. as he charges headlong into you and snaps the tree that you were standing next to, like it's not like it's nothing, but it demonstrates its considerable force. I need you to make a DC 13 DC 13 strength check.
Strength?
Yes, strength. Or dexterity. I lied. It's strength. I lied. I'm lying.
I failed either way.
So through this rock exploding with you on it as this creature destroys your current position, you are knocked prone.
Which takes a turn to get up.
It takes half your movement.
Oh, okay.
Which this thing is now like right on top of you. And who I think Jack was next to you as well. I need you to make a strength check, Jack, to see if you were knocked over, and this is things like relentless charge.
Is it a check or a save?
Strength savings throw. Sorry. DC 13. So yeah, you managed to, in the same action as you removed your blade, you were able to get out of the way of this thing. And that brings us to his second attack, where now that he's charged, you see that like this middle arm of the three sections has kind of reared back and is kind of slamming itself forward to your location, Rem. Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. That's one monster against four of you guys. You take... Sorry, man. You take 24 damage as this huge arm collides through the ground and divoting and trenching it as it goes and slams into the position next to the stream that you had taken up for your attack, effectively destroying your cover and raining debris atop you. It is your turn, though.
Yeah. As that slams down and the debris going, I get hit. I bashed into the stream. But it's an ungraceful landing. But I kind of do the tuck and roll, and I land on my feet like 10 feet from where I originally was. And he's looking at the situation. It looks like Reshi is in a bad spot right now, so he's gonna have to pull out one of his he's gonna have to pull out a trump card right off the bat. So I'm gonna declare it right now that I'm gonna use sharpshooter. So my attack is gonna be at a -5, but he goes into one of his quivers that are hooked up to his hip, and he pulls out the arrow, and as he's pulling it out in one swift motion, it's very fast and fluid, but he's muttering these arcane words in a language that it's doubtful any of the people here understand or speak. And the arrow begins to glow a bright blue, and he pulls it, he draws it back, and he fires, and hopefully I hit. Yeah. So, okay, -5. That's a 19.
Despite the lack of aiming at the cost of power, the creature is massive in front of you, and you are able to line up with fairly decent ease. You strike true.
Okay. 13, 17. That is 27. The and as the arrow hits him, it like lands right in his haunch, in his back haunch, and that bright blue glow kind of enters him and kind of goes around his body like an electric shock. And I'm using one of the properties of a magic arrow is it inflicts something on him, and this is the brute bane arrow, which means for the rest of it, until the end of my next turn, any attacks that Okkoto makes deal half damage. Any bludgeoning, piercing.
You guys need that right now.
Exactly.
So that you see like this withering of the tentacles, but also the flesh beneath, where like these things are kind of falling off and leaving this patch where your strike hit, and it's kind of affecting the stuff around them, but they're trying to take it back and like falling away.
Also, I'd like to move up a tree some if there's one nearby.
Like I said earlier, these trees don't.
Oh, right.
Have a whole lot of branches.
You're right. Okay. In that case, I'm just gonna move backwards and kind of like behind a tree, about 20 feet.
And Jared, God damn it. I had it every time. Badiri. How did I forget that? Badiri.
So I have a question. How far away is he now that he's close?
You guys are all like within movement range of this. He was about 50 feet away when he entered the clearing, and then after he charged, he's probably, I mean, I believe you were out in the open, so you would be able to move probably right next to him if you'd like.
Well, I can't move any closer to him.
Yeah.
Because the fear that he has struck into the core of Badiri has affected him quite a bit, and he is actually shaken so much that the illusion that he was attempting to maintain to try to confuse and take over the mind of this this boar god has failed, and in the illusion, the bones have collided back down into the water and become nothing more. But he is going to kind of look and see that the illusion is no longer working, realizing that his concentration has been broken, and he looks down and sees that you said the boar god had stepped into the pond, right?
Correct.
Is he still kind of standing in it?
Yeah, like one of his legs. He's fairly large, and he has 6 legs now as compared to 4, and they kind of like spider off of him. So maybe like 2 of them are kind of like perching him up in the water.
Excellent, because I don't want to get any closer to him. However, I am going to see that he's stepped in the water, and I'm going to cast my second spell that I have for the time being to cast Witch Bolt right where his leg is meeting the water, attempting to possibly use the fact that he's standing in this water to my advantage. So I pull a small twig out of another one of the pouches from underneath my my coat and pull out this kind of twisted, gnarled little tree branch that's kind of scorched and burnt because it has been struck by lightning once upon a time. And he uses that kind of almost reflexively and defensively out in front of him as lightning jumps out of this charred spot on the twig and arcs towards where he is. I have to make an attack roll, but it needs to be at disadvantage because I am still feared. I'm feared. Oh, damn it. One of them was a 20, but the other one is a 13. I'm going to use my point of inspiration to reroll.
How's that?
So if you use a point of inspiration whenever you roll with advantage or disadvantage, no. I'm just going to re-roll that one. I don't think that makes any sense. Okay. Well, it was worse than the first time, so never mind.
You're having difficulty envisioning the forest spirit in your mind to contact him to purchase power for him in return for servitude. However you go about doing that in your mind, it's escaping you. You can't look away, but you don't want to get any closer. You're petrified. Medusa turns people to stone. This thing has turned you to stone through fear. And that brings us to the top of the order with Jack. Unless you wanted to move. I don't think you wanted to move.
No, but I did repeat the saving throw, and I got a 24 that time.
So yeah, how or what do you what kind of mentally clicks you back?
Noticing the disconnect with the forest spirit, realizing that that's why my powers seem to be futile, that they don't seem to be effective. It's this thing's presence that is distracting. It's interference with my connection with the forest spirit. And so he kind of gets a little bit of a rage kind of fills him, and that eventually overrides the fear that he's feeling from this thing.
All right, top of the order with Jack.
Jack's gonna go in for 2 more strikes with his axe, and then I'm gonna burn a key point for flurry of blows. All right. First attack's a miss. Second is a 23.
That's it.
All right, so let's go ahead and roll that damage. So D8 plus... That's 9 damage for the first, for the axe, and then 2 unarmed strikes. 10 for the first, and 14 for the second.
The 10 does not hit, but the 14 does.
All right, so that's going to be D6 plus 3. 6 points of damage for the unarmed strike.
I need you to give me a Constitution savings throw.
Okay. Am I proficient in that? No, I'm not. That's cocked. I'm going to try again. There we go. That's 10.
So, as your hand makes contact with the swirling mass of wriggling tentacles and worms, whatever you'd call them, to touch, they burn you as if you were touching a hot coal. But it's a weird heat. It's not hot. It's just like extremely painful. And as you take your hand away, you notice that there's like black smudges that you can't seem to wipe off on your hand. Was there anything else you'd like to do? Any movement? Any?
That's it.
Okay. Rishi, you are prone.
Rishi's laying on his back, a bit stunned. Then suddenly, warm thoughts enter his mind. He thinks of home and his mother Gilda and her thick thighs, and his lady friend, and then he thinks of all those people that have doubted him through the years. And in an attempt to like stand up to them, he gets up. He said prone takes half my movement. He gets up He moves 15 feet away from Makoto. He's in front of him. He's not moving to the side or anything. He's going to stand right in front of Makoto, 15 feet away. He's going to turn with his blunderbuss. He's feeling inspired, so he's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and use my point of inspiration. He's going to drop to one knee. He's going to fire. It's going to be glorious. So I got a 24 for the attack roll. And then I got a 4 for damage. A 2 for the fire damage should be 4. And then another 3 for my dex mod, and then 6 for Colossus Slayer. So
For a total of
4, 8, 11, 17, 21. Wait.
I don't math, man. It's past 12.
17.
You see your iron ball that is expelled from your musket enters what was the gazeless eye of Okkoto, the Boar god, and it explodes like a balloon to attack. He cries out, I need you all to make one more wisdom savings throw.
So fear-based?
Yes. I think if you've already succeeded, do you have to roll it again? Unless, or is it if it's a new one, you can go again? DC's 13.
Yeah.
God damn it, Carson.
Just as Reshi starts to monologue, he stops talking.
Maybe like when it turns to you and screams in your face, these things like flick at you.
When it's in my mouth and I bend over in disgust.
And
I
vomit.
feared, yeah.
And as he screams, he's holding himself up with 3 legs, and 3 legs extend out, attacking 3 of you. Rishi, Badiri, and Rem. Rem is the only one that doesn't get hit. I'm sure 19s plus hit the other 2. So Rem, you explain how you dodged.
Ren seeing all this, he's prepared for. He knows when he gets hit hard, he shoots those arms up. And he prepares, and he's just hoping it's not aimed at him. But when he sees it jut out at him, he does this like quick, turns his back to the tree, and like that arm kind of like rips through half that tree that he's sitting behind. But it gives him just enough cover to pass.
Okay, Badiri and Rishi, you both take 18 points of damage.
So that gets halved by Ren's.
Yep. So a total of 9.
Cool.
You lucky motherfuckers.
Yes.
That does 400 damage. I need both Rishi and Badiri to make Constitution saves. So as these tentacle arms make contact with you, slamming you into whatever is behind you at the time, you feel the burning of their touch, the searing pain that goes along with it. Rishi, these worms, they cover you. like a bucket of water, these things kind of just fall onto you from his limb. And for the most part, you are covered by your arms and clothing, but where they touch, you see the black mark, and it begins to burn there as well. Badiri, though you are hit and you feel the pain, they don't leave anything on you. And in the back of your mind, you hear the faint rattle of the forest. And it takes us to Rem.
Okay. And the Koto's still like right there in front of my two of my companions, right?
Correct.
Okay. With that, I forgot I had an extra attack last turn, so I'm not going to forget this time. After seeing him rip through half that tree, I kind of have to take a couple deep breaths. I'm like, okay, all right, and I'm just prepping myself for the shit show I'm about to have to do. And I turn around, I turn to the other side of the tree, and I just start firing arrows. I'm gonna. I figure this is a good attempt. I'm going to pump an action surge and just take 2 full attacks, which means I get to attack 4 times. And I'm gonna, just to piss you off, Baron, I'm gonna all of them are gonna be sharpshooter. It's just kind of like my eyes do that dilation you see in animes all the time, and it's just do.
The arrows, like the lines, are fast and behind, and the arrows going slow.
Yeah, exactly. So
Speed Racer's there for some reason.
Let's see. So first attack is a 13.
It does not hit.
That's a miss. All right. Okay. Second attack is a 17.
17 does hit.
All right. 14.
14 does not hit.
What? Damn it. And that is another 17. So
17 hits.
All right, cool. 2 hits. That is 8. Oh shit! I rolled max damage twice. So that is 8 plus 8, 16 plus 20 is 36 plus 8, so 44 between the two. 44 total.
You let your shaft fly, and the fletching winds as it sails through the air and pierces through the other gazeless eye of the Boar God Okkoto, deep enough to penetrate what would have been his cranium. And you see the dilapidated, shambling mound of flesh kind of sauntering, not sauntering, stumbling and falling to sludge in this pond. And as he is about to collapse, there is a serenity that befalls you all. And from a clearing across the pond approaches a creature none of you, barring Badiri, have seen in real life. Its face is red as cherries and as wrinkled as an old man. Its antlers immeasurable and uncountable, as long as the years it's lived. Its coat is shaggy, and its appearance is elk-like, but its feet end in toes rather than hooves. It approaches the Boar God, leans close, whispers something not even the water could hear, and the Boar God fell into the water, dead. This red face turns and looks at you. Smile. You hear a and he runs into the darkness of the forest. The black mark that was spreading where this thing had touched you has faded to gray, and where it once burned is now a dull ache. something that you have a feeling will never go away. And as you collect yourselves, check the party, you take the skull of the boar god, his tusks chipped and worn from years of use, but recognizable as the skull of Okkoto, the boar god. It takes 2 of you to carry it, but you manage to bring it back, and Lady Samushi pays you handsomely for your deed. And though the war is not done in the lands of the frontier, it is pushed off until another day. And that is it. Ta-da! You guys survived the Boar God Okkoto.
There's at least 3 townsgirls that run into my arms when I return.
You have like fleckles of this like gray, almost petrified flesh on your face and your hands.
Well, I was pretty much doused in it, so I'm basically a gray.
I'm basically hideous now.
I could definitely see on the way back, the what is it, Carson's character and Badiri are kind of like walking forward. I like hang back a little bit and talk to Jack real quick, where it's just I noticed the mask. And just like point that out. I didn't get to do it. I didn't get to do it in the battle.
That kind of takes the mask off and drops it on the ground and just stops it and breaks it.
Life's about growth.
Never mind all those thousands of people you killed. Just forget about that. Yeah.
I know.
It isn't about growth for them.
It's like Jamie Lannister. It's like, yeah, dude, you threw a kid out the window. Now everyone's like, but
yeah. It's like what happens to all serial killers once they go to jail. They get marriage proposals like crazy. It's ridiculous.
Well, all right, I'm gonna end the broadcast so we can do quick outros. We'll start with Carson.
Hope you enjoyed Reshi. The
ladies certainly do.
The industrial born ranger.
All right, moving right along to Tyler.
Yeah, I had a blast. I'm glad you guys like Jack. I'm probably going to bring him back in my own campaign as an NPC or something.
Hell yeah. Well, I love it when they stay. Thank you. Pleasure to have you, and hopefully I get to have you again sometime. Samuel?
Hey, yeah, that was fantastic. It was great to finally be in one of your games. Yeah, okay. I didn't know if my mic was working. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a blast. I've never played an archer before, and arcane archer is kind of broken. There's a lot of damage I could have done if I played it right.
Slaying.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully you run more games so that I can play in them.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
I've been playing it a lot, and I'm all right with that right now. So
switch to Fate. I'm just saying. Okay, that was my last message. Thank you. Bye.
I don't knock Fate. It's certainly one of the many RPGs I now have on my bookshelf, thanks to you and Jeremy. So, and transitioning right along, Jeremy.
Yes, sir. Hey, everybody. I am Jeremy. Once again, I have the YouTube channel, the Erasmus Expeditions. I'm also 1/3 of the podcast, The Dudes of Yore, with my buddies Jeff Doty and Chad Nick. So, yeah, go check those out. But, man, this was a lot of fun. I was really, really happy after I found the picture for the character of how well I was able to kind of match what that conjured up in my head. he didn't perform all that well because my rolls sucked whenever they needed to be good, and then they were good when it didn't really matter. But it was a fun character to play all the same, especially in this setting and with these 3 fantastic players. So thank you very, very much for being on the other side of the screen for me yet again, Baron. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Glad you took the time to play an anime game. So without further ado, we are going to sign off. So let's roll on out of here.